Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos, doggone it. My name is John Fahey, your host. It is John Boy time. I am the COVID kid. I am COVID barely 18. Joining me as ever, the handsomest, prettiest boy under the sun, the be-all, end-all, Ken-doll, Aaron Joseph Pita. Hello.
That's me, man. Guilty as charged.
Sorry.
I'm not sorry. And
Accused
you know what?
and
For
convicted
that, I'm sorry.
of Drinkos pee-pee.
Yep, and I'm serving my sentence. Mm-hmm. Which is ended in an exclamation point.
Yeah. You're gonna think on it.
You know,
you're gonna stink on it.
And I'm gonna twink on it. You know how like when you get caught smoking cigarettes by your dad as a kid, it makes you smoke the whole pack.
Yeah,
right. That's what the government did to me when they found that I was accused and then convicted of Drinkos pee-pee.
Yeah,
they made me drink up
all of it.
All of it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And to your right, my left, handsome young Matt Brousseau.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I feel good.
We're here live from Chineseville. Isn't that nice?
Chinese.
Good to be with you boys. As always, please check us out on the Instagram if you want to get a gander at some of these characters. It is Profiles in Eccentricity on Instagram. We are PP Podcast on Twitter. And join our Patreon. We got an extra episode every week.
We're also... Oh, whoa, that was loud. Sorry.
It's okay.
My levels are peaking.
Yeah, you can be excited.
We're also on YouTube.
That's exactly right.
And no... This is not our version of drunk history. No, we don't
drunk.
Research. And no, we won't do better. I'm sorry.
we will not try
This
harder.
is as good as it gets.
And that is something I can guarantee you. We will not do better.
You can call us Helen Hunt. Mm-hmm. Because this is as good as it gets.
You said it, neighbor.
Wow, that was good.
You like that?
Or Greg Kinnear.
Great reference to the Academy Award winning picture, As Good as It Gets.
That's right.
Jack Nicholson.
This is the poster.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had some good lines in that one.
Yeah.
You make me want to be a better man.
Yeah, not us, though.
No, this is, again, as good as it gets.
This is as good as it gets. Sorry.
And if you don't like it,
shove off.
You don't have to listen, but I'd appreciate it if you did. But also, you can have a great day.
Yeah.
Yeah, go have a great day.
I wish everyone well.
Yeah.
I wish a lot of people well.
Yeah.
My enemies, my abusive friends.
I wish you well. Me.
Huh? You can't do that.
Yeah.
But you also can, apparently. Now, I don't have anything to say, but
You will.
I've it on good.
You're in the wrong line of business, buddy. This is a podcast.
I have it on good authority that Matt has something to delight us with.
Let's give us something to talk about.
Yeah, I have a story.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Take us there.
Now?
I'll take you there.
Take me right there.
Well, lads. This begins in 1925. June 27th.
I remember that was muggy.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Williamsburg, Brooklyn, New York.
Ooh, fun, hip.
A young
Brooklyn's in the house.
Jewish man, Jerome Solon
Now,
Felder.
where Brooklyn at?
Huh?
Where Brooklyn at?
Yeah, it's more of a statement than a question.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
hypothetical.
Shout out.
Hype. Hypothetical.
Very nice. Very good.
Hi, I'm Dr. Manhattan Beach.
Do you want me to finish
Yes,
the
yes,
birth?
yes.
Yeah.
Well, Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
Jerome Solon Felder, born to Morris and Millie Felder, Jewish immigrants from Europe. One of the many pairs of Jewish immigrants that filled the Williamsburg ghetto at the time. 1925. His parents, both immigrants. He grew up his parents were they fought constantly. It was his whole thing, and I'll get into their lives in the Patreon.
Oh.
But no time for that. Jerome had curly hair and freckles, and he screamed and he yelled a lot like any normal kid, and he ran all the time. But he has very little memory of this because In 1932, he's 7 or so, and there's this polio epidemic going around.
I heard it's going to go away on its
Yeah,
own.
just it is what it is. And so his parents, they sent him to camp in Connecticut because they're like, we don't want you to get any of this polio.
Right.
And then he goes swimming, and then one morning he wakes up and his legs don't work.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the no polio camp turned into the
Polio camp.
camp.
Probably playing Marco Polio in that swim. That's how you get it. Marco Polio. Jesus Christ, I'm drowning. Shoot it all over me.
What?
Huh?
Oh, God.
No, he can't quite figure out what's going on. His parents show up and they're going crazy. They bring him to the hospital.
Freaking out like a couple of Jewish immigrants in Brooklyn.
They bring him to the hospital, and he didn't know that. No one ever. It's like one of those things that doctors never. Back then, they would never tell you what was going on. They would just tell everybody else.
Oh, God. This poor family came in. Kids got polio. It's fucking so sad. Of course,
And he said his mom, she would run into the bathroom, and then just the water would run the whole time to cover her crying. And then he could just see from her face that something was terrible going on. He had no idea what was happening. They sent him to Warm Springs, Georgia, which is a popular polio retreat. FDR was there.
Oh, yeah.
Said he saw FDR sitting by a pool. His mom said FDR's dog bit her in the ankle.
Oh.
It was
polio retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there a lot, FDR.
Yeah.
And I think he was kind
So
of
that was the real polio camp?
Yes. Yeah. And it was, I think, kind of a thing where FDR was up, face to face with the average person.
Right.
In this kind of spot. And he loved it there.
Hey.
Yeah. And Jerome said these were some of the his favorite moments from this time, being there. He was there for a few weeks, and then he was sent to upstate New York rehab for kids with polio. And it's in the Hudson Valley. And he said as soon as he got there, all the other kids crowded around his bed, and they punched him until he cried.
Huh.
That was his entrance.
Wow.
There was a doctor there.
And they all have polio.
Yeah. But he was the new kid, so, everybody's feeling bad, so might as well take it out on somebody, I guess.
Yeah.
Kids, they can be so cruel.
Yeah.
We can? So there was a doctor there who he would perform a surgery that he said would fix the foot, and what he meant was that he would fix it in one place. And then eventually the kids, as they grew older, the legs would be even less useful. So he didn't know that at the time, or maybe he did. But he would pick. Jerome said it was nightmarish because the doctor would just walk bed to bed, and it seemingly randomly he would go surgery, no surgery, surgery, no surgery, and then another doctor there would just pick up his legs and then drop them to taunt him.
Yep, polio.
His legs. Yeah, that's you got this, kid. That's So that was his memory of that place. He begged his mom not to let him do surgery on him, and she
What?
Super fucked up.
Yeah, it's polio, all right.
still got it, kid. So he does this. This goes on for about 2 years, and then he gets back home. His parents don't send him to school. A tutor shows up. Otherwise, he spends all day in bed daydreaming. He learns to yell really well.
Yeah. He was already screaming.
Yeah. But now he's yelling. He's in another room. He's yelling for his mom. Apparently, he was
Over the running water.
Yeah.
To hide her prodigious tears and ferocious dumps.
God.
That's what she's doing.
Yeah.
It's the second part that he never thought about.
Ma!
What are you doing in there so long? Why are you taking such a long shower? I'm jerking off.
Yeah.
So in 1933, so he's about 8 now. He gets his picture in the paper.
Oh.
Because he wrote to the local radio station and asked for a puppy. And the local DJ, when the local DJ was like the hottest thing in the world, wherever you were, right? DJ Uncle Don was his name. And so in order to get some press out, DJ Uncle Don gave him he showed up and he gave him a puppy. And there's this picture in the Brooklyn Times-Union of Jerome, and he's surrounded by all these people, and he's holding the puppy with the DJ. And the headline is, "Paralyzed Boy is Gleeful."
At least he gave him a live puppy.
Yeah.
Well, and the dog's name was Crummy.
Oh.
really fun times.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. This is WDON. I'm Uncle Don. Who wants a fucking puppy out there?
So then he started reading books. He reads this book, Jean Christophe, by Romain Rollard. This is what the Germans call the Bildungsroman.
Oh,
It's a story from a psychological birth to death, almost. So it follows someone throughout their life in different ways. And he reads it. It's about a German composer. It's very clearly it's like about Beethoven. Rollard had written a biography of Beethoven like 2 or 3 years before he started this, and so he just kind of cribbed that into his own story. Mm-hmm. And so Jerome reads this, and he loves it. He read all these, Captain 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea and all these things. And he used these books, and they were an excuse to get away. He always dreamed himself to be
mobile.
Yeah, well, he said he wanted to be the first boxer on crutches. He wanted to be the first baseman on crutches. He was like, so he wasn't going to let him. But of course, he was still stuck in the house for most of the day. When he was younger, he used to love hearing the kids play baseball, and now it was torture. Because he could hear it right through his window in the apartment.
And he was an expert on torture.
Yeah.
Yes.
He received quite a bit of it.
Yeah. Hope those guys don't come in here and just beat my ass just because I'm friends with FDR.
I hope they beat my legs. Can't feel those sons of bitches.
They beat my legs mostly. Mostly.
So
Take Crummy.
Beat him! He's a crummy dog.
The documentary in the book I read that didn't mention whatever happened to the dog. So, good luck, Crummy. So anyway, he likes this story so much. He listens he's listening to the radio at night. Everybody go to bed. He'd turn on the radio, and there'd be like opera and classical music on, and he would pull out a baton and he would play to it. And then one night he turns the dial, and all of a sudden he finds black music. And
Like
today,
black metal?
yeah. Today we'd call it swing and jazz blues. He found like Count Basie, Billie Holiday, Coleman Hawkins, and they were all live from somewhere usually.
Right.
So you get this, it's exciting.
It's like you're there with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not your regular Uncle Don bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, this is real, underground stuff.
And so after that, he decided he'd take up the saxophone. And
You want to be the first saxophonist on crutches?
yeah, perhaps, yeah. I mean, in theory, it's not so bad.
New Yorkers love saxophones.
Yeah, you tell me, John.
I'm telling you. They're out there in the snow all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Chicago too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fucking assholes.
Always like some guy at the L station. Mm-hmm. They just play Stand By Me for 10 hours straight. Like, all right, I'm here once. So he becomes a very good saxophone player. Eventually, his parents put him into high school, and he got in music class, and he was a great music student. It was the only class where he didn't feel like he was handicapped, and he learned to read, just like sight read. So you just
music,
yeah, and so him and a couple there's a woman, a young girl in the class, and she treated him like a normal person, and he was like, "This is awesome." Also, she has a pretty nice chest.
Oh, God. For real?
Yeah.
When he was 8?
No, he's in high school now.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the biographer talked about the big titties.
He does mention it, one of his interviews.
So she is,
his diary,
she's a sub-18, all right.
And they form a band with a couple other people, and they go to they go to a bar, and because she knows somebody who works at the bar, he's like, "You bring a band and we'll put you up." Mm-hmm. And so they go up and they play at this bar, and they each get a beer and a couple dollars.
Nice.
And they're like, "This is fucking awesome.
the best.
We just got paid."
Yeah.
And we got to drink. And then after they do this for a bit, and then someone at one of the bars pulls a knife on the girl, and they get kicked out. It's like,
Get your chesty ass out of here, I swear to
You
God.
keep drawing in all these violent animals with those big, beautiful, holy jeez.
That big balcony, the fuck out of here.
So,
You get out of here. Leave the titties.
but he's still a good sax player. But one morning he's walking home from school, and all the kids in the neighborhood are having a snowball fight. And then what they would do is they would they would melt him and then freeze him.
So it was ice ball fight.
Yeah. And so, he gets stuck in the middle of this, and he's
just on his crutches.
He's on his crutches, and then he's like trying to hide from it, and he's laying up against the wall to hide from it, and his right hand is up on the wall. Snowball hits his right hand.
Can't play the fucking sax.
Breaks his fingers. The doctor doesn't reset it correctly. Mm-hmm. And next time he tries to play the sax, nothing works.
Is this kid Mr. Glass? This is like this is usually at the point of all my favorite stories where the main character develops their mutant powers.
Yeah.
Under periods of great emotional and physical stress, they sprout wings or shoot laser beams from their eyes or something like that. Is anything good gonna happen?
Well, it's funny you say that, Aaron. Because this happens when he's 14 or 15. And then so around age 15, he's listening to the radio, and he hears this song.
Hey.
And he's like, okay, he's heard this, this nice little, little jazz. This is, I'll talk about the importance of the song on the Patreon.
Yeah. It's like a sexy,
and how this connects. This song connects the jazz, and eventually this would seg into what would become rock and roll.
Connections.
But then he hears this.
Well, I've been again and did it. Good and everything is really all right.
So to him, he's like, this sounds like a man, listening today, you have a different experience, I think, but he's like, this sounded like this is the biggest man in the world yelling at the top of his lungs. And he was like, it's hard, it's dark and it's heavy, and this man is just screaming for his life. This is Big Joe Turner, who's a big man. And this is Piney Brown Blues. And so he memorizes the song. It becomes his favorite song, and this is how he discovers the blues. And, it was Benny King said, Benny King about him, he said that you got to live something to sing something.
Yeah, well, this gentleman, this young man, certainly had quite a bit of blues of his life to draw upon.
Yeah. And so, 1943, he's 18 now. And he's been obsessed with these blues records, and he goes to this tavern called George's Tavern in Greenwich Village, and he's there to just watch the jazz on stage. This guy, Frankie Newton, is playing trumpet, and he's just kind of fucking around. He was the trumpeter on Billie Holiday's Strange Fruit, and he's just these guys they would sit there, and then the friend of theirs would show up and come on stage, and they'd fuck around, and they'd do this until 2 a.m, and then they get some bolognese from the place when it shut down, and
that's
then
fucking nice.
Then they would go home. They get paid a few dollars, and it was a gig. And so he's 16. Yeah, he's 16, and the owner comes over, and because he's been hiding himself by the stage, so no one could see that he wasn't drinking anything. And the owner's like, "You're not drinking anything. Why don't you fuck off?" And he turns to him and he just goes, "Oh, I'm a singer." And the owner goes, "Fucking okay, well, go sing then." And he tells him to go on stage, and he's never done this before. And there's a crowd there.
Whoa!
And so he gets on stage. He fucking clomps his way on stage, right?
Clomps.
He's got
He crawls with the claw.
So
you guys are in for a treat.
Just got to rig myself up with this complicated system of pulleys.
I'm your marionette.
Frankie Newton's goes, "Hey kid, what key?" And he doesn't know any keys, so he just says, "I don't know."
Fuck did you say?
This is a blues riff in B.
So he just says,
Watch me for the changes.
He just says, "Blues in any key in any tempo." And so he closes his eyes, times it up, and he starts yelling out that same song, Piney Blues, that Big Joe Turner. And he closed his eyes for the entire. It took 2 minutes. And when he opened his eyes, half the crowd was clapping, and he was like, "Hey, that was all right."
Better than a beat down by a bunch of kids.
Better than a snowball in the hand or a surgery by a maniac doctor.
It's better than a polio hospital hazing, I'll tell you that.
Polio Hospital Hazing is my favorite punk record.
Absolutely. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jello's great on that.
Yeah.
On the train ride home, he's just running such adrenaline. He writes his first song, BB Blues. BB is for Brighton Beach, where he had a crush over the previous summer. And he decided he needed a new name. He needed a name that made sense for a blues singer, and not a crippled white Jew.
Yeah, Curly Fingers.
Yeah.
Curly Fingers?
Curly Fingers Johnson. This guy's crazy.
Curly Fingers.
And also, he also needed a name so if his name ever went on a marquee, his mom wouldn't know.
Ah, yeah, you can't know. Yeah, a young Jewish boy.
Yeah,
his mom's gonna. No.
His parents did not want him carousing. So he's fooling around with his cousin, trying to think of a name. And Doc Clayton was a blues a singer that he liked, so he's Doc. And then they were just fucking. It's like, for some reason, for just no reason other than it sounded fine, the word Pomus, Pomus, and so he became Doc Pomus. And so he goes up there. He goes up there the next night. The guy's like, "What's your name?" He goes, "Oh, Doc Pomus." And now he goes up, and now he has 2 songs. So he does his 2 songs,
Right.
And then he becomes a regular. He goes there every day, every night that summer. And those next few weeks were just a blur. He's up all night, smoking, drinking, singing.
Straight West Coasting.
He's singing in front of Lester Young and Frankie Newton, some of the best musicians in the world. And eventually he puts together a couple other songs. He remembers the words to a couple other songs. Now he's got 4 songs. Then he puts his own band together. With someone from school and I think maybe from the community college, I forget. And all of a sudden he's making $40 a week now.
Hey, wait.
That's about $640 today.
Hey.
Wow.
Yeah. And then obviously someone just, there was this, I think it was an English jazz historian and writer and musician who saw him and was like, "Hey, I got a song that I'd like you to sing." And he's like, "Okay." So he goes and records this guy's song, and it gets put out on a record, and it gets a decent review in a local music magazine.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, "Holy shit. I can do this." And then a couple of days later, he's playing his favorite numbers at the bookie, and he wins big.
Hey.
Whoa.
He's like, "Oh, everything's going great." He buys a car with handbrakes. Yeah.
Yeah?
Uh-huh. Hand-powered brakes.
Left hand.
Yeah.
And then not long after, he falls asleep while driving home, and he plows it into a pole.
Jesus Christ.
Plows it into a bunch of kids to have a snowball fight on accident.
When he wakes up in the ambulance, he finds out that while he was passed out in the street, someone robbed him.
Oh, God.
I woke up in the ambulance this morning. My pockets were light up.
Plus, I have polio.
I pulled an all-nighter.
Kids whipped my ass several times. Pivotal points in my life.
Now, but he gets back into it. He keeps going back to the clubs, and all of the clubs he's playing, they're kind of like they're mixed race, and today you would be like hipstery,
Oh.
And
In Williamsburg?
no. Surround. Yes, exactly.
Right.
No, back then Williamsburg was not hipstery.
Of course, yes.
But it'd be places like Manhattan, so a jazz guitarist, this guy named Hechter Bailey, was like, "Hey man,
Rector.
Barely know her.
Damn near killed her.
the mixed rights place were in Bed-Stuy.
Ah.
Improvisational music and stuff like that.
Freeform.
Yeah, it was more, it was where stuff like bebop would be coming in.
Now, where would the rock steady come from? Is there a secret to this ooze? Is there a secret to this goose?
I like that.
So this guitarist, Hechter Bailey, says, "Hey man, you're doing blues. I got a place where people would really dig it." And
it's miserable. They're like you.
Yeah. All of our moms are in the bathroom wailing into the faucet.
So you got legs, huh? Must be nice.
Yeah. We gave one of our moms in the bathroom a microphone. She's
wailing.
singing the blues all night.
So
Singing the Browns.
Oh, God.
She is.
Ah.
So Bailey tells him to go to this place called Verona Cafe, and he goes up on stage. He's the only white guy in there. But the moment he sings, like all the black guys are like, "Oh, all right, come on, fuck off, don't fool around,
Fuck out of here with that, will you please?
And then the moment he sings, they all stop and go, "Oh shit,
This guy
kid's
means
not-
business."
This kid's not faking."
You can dance with our dates.
If you could dance.
Yeah, so you might be able to flail around, or wiggle your left arm or something. That's cool.
We can get that marionette back out here and help you out.
So this this is from Lonely Avenue, the book about him from Alex Halberstadt.
About Doc Pumice?
Yeah.
Palmas?
Yeah. So this is what he says about that. He said, they loved him all the more because he was white and owned the music without the fuss or extraneous reverence or apology. Men in work shirts were lining up to buy him drinks. A young woman busting out of her crepe de chine blouse who had been doing a double twist right in front of the bandstand was beckoning him over to her table.
Oh my God. Really?
He was like, this is home.
Out of sight.
And so from here, he really starts to pick up some steam. He starts recording every few months. He'd record a song, and usually they were forgettable stuff. But he got stiff so many times that he started borrowing a friend's revolver, and when they didn't pay him right away, he'd pull out the gun on him, and then they would pay him.
Counter offer.
But he gets this medium hit with a jingle for a clothing store called Alley, just like where you could just get good looking clothes for the day.
Hey, nice.
And
for the day, because you're definitely gonna be robbed later.
these are my morning pants.
I see you don't move and you got a nice blazer. I'll take that.
Stick them up. Do you have it? Do you have the jingle?
So I don't have the jingle, but a few months after that, he recorded a version of the jingle that he had rewritten into a blues song. But the jingle was huge. Everybody knew the jingle.
Sure.
Sports Chalet will take you to the limit.
Exactly. Yeah, whoever wrote the Hinsdale, America's Favorite Track jingle, yeah. So this is what he turned into the almost dirty blues version of it. But it's the same jingle, but he's just changed the words a little bit. Sounds nice.
That's nice.
In an alley.
Oh,
She was so good to me.
he's talking about getting dome in an alley by some girl named Allie.
I'd do it myself if not for the curly fingers.
And filled me with ecstasy.
Oh, it's rolling.
So
Can't reach my ass to wash it.
No.
What?
no.
He's got another hand.
Yeah, but I mean, that thing's supposed to be driving the car.
What? These cars are not toilets, John. No matter how you treat your own.
So a lot of the songs were like kind of like throwaway songs, which were like tongue in cheek, something like this. This is called pretty happening band.
In an alley,
My good part's my chick, my good part's her name. Every time I'm near her, she drives me insane. I love my good part. I
just singing about smoking weed.
My good pot, my good pot, my good pot all the time.
All right.
Yeah.
Talking about chiefing it to the dome. It sounds
Well, you
like
gotta chief it.
to the dome.
Probably helps with the curly fingers.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, it really loosens you up.
You can really roll a joint. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you have to imagine Fred Noon's on stage and he's just fucking fooling around. Some weed goes a long way up there. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
It's medical.
so he keeps.
I'm a doctor.
It's true. He keeps playing. He keeps recording. Eventually, a DJ and club owner in Newark, in the Black Belt of Newark.
What? Oh, it's all the karate guys.
Yes, Aaron. Yes.
That was that Chinese.
Now you talking about Soho or Dojo?
Little column A. Little column B.
All right, so he's down there in the dojo
So he
district.
goes down to Newark. He's playing in the Black Belt, and it's a happening place. It's such a happening time. People are passing out in the middle of the music.
Now this is like Great Depression.
This is
30s, late 30s.
yeah, mid 30s. Yeah.
All right, so pretty
Yeah, we're
nice.
crawling out of
Everybody
it.
was kung fu fighting.
Yeah. And, this place is just like, there's people, what they would do is if people in the audience liked it, they would throw money on stage.
Oh,
And so he's just like singing, and, there's just coins bouncing all over. He said, like,
wish I could pick that shit up.
he's having PTSD flashbacks to ice balls.
he said, like people would be passing out. One time he saw this woman, she passed out from over dancing, and her boyfriend smacked her awake, and then she
Wake up! Throw some money at this cripple.
and she heard the music, and she passed right out again.
Man, those were the days. People passing out from music.
Yeah.
Huh?
I know.
Now it's something devious.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
people they're so jaded.
I know. I don't even.
Nothing will make anybody freak out like
Yeah, it's fucking people just acting like VR porn is normal.
that. Yeah.
But so while he's there, he meets all of these amazing black artists. Roy Hamilton, Big Maybell was this just big black woman with this amazing voice. Joey August, aka Mr. Google Eyes.
Oh yeah. Now he's a pervert.
His eyes will find anything. Mr. Google Eyes.
Sure, I know. I get it. Yeah.
This guy,
Alphabet.
this
I
guy,
like to Google Eyes too.
this guy Andrew Tibbs. Him and Andrew Tibbs. Andrew Tibbs had this.
Shut up.
Andrew Tibbs was this amazing live performer that by the time they eventually started recording him in studio, it never really captured the energy of him. But him and Doc at the end of nights, they would just do a back and forth. And so Tibbs would be on one side of the stage, Doc on the other, and they'd just be shouting back and forth the blues to each other, the repeat. But when he was also there, he just had this mind blown by this guy named Little Jimmy Scott.
Huh.
And I got to play you some Little Jimmy Scott because you have to hear Little Jimmy Scott. This is from 1969. So this is,
Years later.
30 years later. But this is Jimmy Scott.
This land is mine.
Oh, that's nice.
God gave this land to me. This great and ancient land to me.
So now you hear that, right? And maybe you have an idea of what to think about Little Jimmy Scott. Now, Little Jimmy Scott was born with this thing called Cowman syndrome.
Cowman's?
It's a genetic disorder that it kept him from reaching puberty.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Like Webster.
yeah, probably. And so he
Or
was
Gary Coleman, whichever one.
Coleman all the way, baby.
Cowman.
so he has this natural contralto voice, this high voice. When I first and a lot of his albums, especially that album, The Exodus, it has this beautiful black woman on it. And I was like, oh man, she's fucking great. A lot of his albums would have women on it because it didn't want to
Because of
confuse
his voice,
people.
right? And so he was like a natural eunuch.
Yeah. But he was 4'11" until age 36, and then he grew 8 inches.
Whoa.
But the voice stayed. But you know,
How tall did he get? What?
Yeah, he couldn't swim after that.
Don't have a cow, man. Wow, so he was a whole 5'7", huh?
Yeah. But you know, so you know, in a club like this, all these people are playing the blues, playing the
Playing this.
There, one of them was, and then all of a sudden, everybody like quiets down in this fucking tiny little, you know, you're like, oh, what's this kid doing up here? And then he fucking blows the room out with that.
Yeah, he's got
like,
the tiny baby cutie blues.
Yes.
I'm 33.
I'm dying for a drink. Can't get served.
Do you have a sister?
So in '46, Doc, he's writing more music, and he writes this song that that Atlanta buys and picks up. And at the time, Atlantic is just this one room office above a restaurant. The record company we know now is Atlantic. There was just this one little place, and so you would just show up and you go, "Hey, I got a song." And so every now and then he would write a song, he'd sing it into a recorder, he'd bring it to them, and they would they'd go, oh, okay. And when they recorded in that room, they would just push all the desks to the wall, and then the singers would record in there. And like, you know, when Joe Turner did Shake, Rattle, and Roll, the background vocals were the people in the office. Because that was just
What?
yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. That's just, hey, that's, you know.
It's just the line cooks downstairs.
So he's been selling songs to them for about 5 years. And then in 48, you know, Jimmy Scott moves home, and, you know, everybody he knows is kind of just like leaving. You know, they had their run. And also in the mid 40s, there was a music union, and they went on strike. And so no one could record. Mm-hmm. And so right at the beginning of this new version of bebop and jazz, there's years of music that is lost because the music union wouldn't let anybody record. Mm-hmm. And so in 48, everything is just kind of like falling out. And now Doc, he's not making as much money. He's still playing all the time, and that's where all his money's coming from. But you know, it's not, they're not paying the bills. He's living in this hostel. And that night, he would hang out in the lobby because there wasn't any other place to hang out. He had this guy across from him who would just scream all day in the room across from him.
Oh.
He had another guy down the hall who when they started talking in the lobby, the guy was like, "Yeah, my roommate killed a guy." And so Doc was like, "You should call the cops." And that's how the cops solved this infamous murder. There was another guy in his hallway is just crazy guy who would just write letters and to like politicians all the time, and no one would ever answer them. And then one time Doc was like, "You want me to give it a shot? You just tell me what to write." And then Doc toned it down, and the letter was responded to, so the guy started paying him to write letters for him, just like shouting nonsense at him, and then he'd be like, "Dear sir."
Yeah. Plus, he's friends with FDR.
Yeah, exactly.
I know a guy.
Yeah.
Now, at this point of his life, is he crutching around?
He's still crutching around.
Now, does he have those cool ones that attach to your forearms?
No, you got these ones, you know, they're fucking just beat up all over. They got tape.
Oh, they got like the ones that go in your armpits and stuff?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah. And there's pictures of him on stage where it's just, he's screaming.
He's all propped up.
Yeah.
Real.
I'll show you a picture.
Nice. No. That's okay.
In 47, though, he was interviewed for Picture Life magazine. Oh, I'm sorry, that's 54. Whatever.
Whatever.
He's interviewed for Picture Life magazine. Here's a picture of him. I'll try to remember to put it on the YouTube. We'll see if I remember.
Whoa.
And in it, he's talking about how all these agents will pick him up, and he's like, yeah, all these agents, they don't want me. I think they're all ex-tap dancers.
Huh.
You know, he's trying to jazz up his blues jazz up his talk. And he talks about it, how he's amazed. He's like, you know, black people come to watch me sing the blues. He's like, just to think about that for a second.
Yeah.
You think your life sucks?
He does get this. He runs into these different people, and there's this one person. There's this place called Central Plaza where this guy named Jack Crystal's running it, and for like a year or two, it was the place. Like you just show up late at night and see the best music in New York City. This guy named Jack Crystal. All these blues and jazz players would be there, and through someone there, he meets someone who they're like, my wife is this manager. Her name is Maele, Male. I don't know. Male Bartholomew.
How do you say
Maele?
Melee?
Yeah, Maele. And she works with Duke Ellington and Charlie Parker, and she's like, I'm gonna hook you up with a thing, and he records a song, and then he never gets paid, and he's like, he keeps bugging her, he's calling her all the time, and eventually she shows up at his apartment, and she goes, I don't have any money for you, but here's heroin.
Ah.
And that's how he found out that she hooked Charlie Parker onto heroin because she wouldn't pay him cash. She would just give him heroin.
Damn.
It's a real bummer, man.
Yeah. So now he's living in this 1950s, living in this flop house that's a bordello too. He said the weekends were the worst.
Yeah?
Yeah, because that's what was really going on. He said every night, fucking when someone would slap the women, and then the fucking bodyguards would have to go up there and rough a guy up and throw him out. And then he said one night while they're all in there, one of the transformers blows, and all the lights are out, and his room is just pitch dark, except for the electrical cord from the line is just hitting his window. It's just tapping. It's sparking every time.
Whoa!
And he's like, "This is really bad."
He goes into an epileptic seizure.
Damn, that's really scary.
But he's still performing. He's writing good songs. And
Yeah, no shit.
And 19 yeah, exactly.
Transformer room, and the electricity went out too.
So in 1951, just the night before, he'd been performing on stage. He goes to Atlantic to sell him a song, and before he even gets there, Joe Turner's there, and Joe Turner's like, he's talking about this guy. He's like, I saw this crippled guy, and he was fucking amazing. He's just singing his heart out. And the Atlantic guy's like, man, I think I know who you're talking about. And then Doc walks through the door. Joe Turner goes, hey, that's him. Speaking of the devil. Whoa.
He had these curly fingers.
So he starts writing for Joe Turner. Joe Turner, this is like, it's fucking blowing his mind because Joe Turner's the guy that got him into this.
Yeah.
And so he starts writing songs for Joe Turner. He writes a bunch of songs. One of them is this one. This is Joe Turner, Still in Love. 1951.
You love me, then you left me. Now you laughing. You're laughing, 'cause I'm still in love with you.
Yeah, that's some easy listening. And so he actually does pretty well writing these songs for Joe Turner. Joe Turner loves him. So in '54, he has the Picture Life magazine article, and he has this fling with this. He's at a bar and he meets this 40-year-old blonde woman.
How old is he at this point?
He's in his late 20s by now.
Nice.
I guess he'd be 29. And
But he walks like like at a 70-year-old level. So
Yeah, I think he actually like an Egyptian.
no,
What?
or mummy.
I think it was Jimmy Scott who was like amazed. They would take the subway everywhere, and he'd fucking go up and down the stairs, and he'd be like, "This is." He never took a taxi. He'd always when he wasn't driving.
Yeah,
Into stuff.
His fucking insane marionette car.
Yeah,
It's fucking made from like Dr. Octopus or some shit.
Fucking chitty chitty bang bang mobile. Runs on accordion string.
Yeah, it's all levies and string and fucking pulleys and. I think he's got to blow a harmonica to make a left turn.
Nobody can start this car but me.
It doesn't start until he blows the harmonica. Yeah. Do you have the blues? Because he can't drive.
Yeah.
Does anybody know how to blow a transformer?
This thing won't start until I do a B flat.
Well, it's a tire.
So he's hooking up with this 40-year-old blonde woman, and then he finds out she's 35 and she's like a serious alcoholic, and then he finds out she's Veronica Lake.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
So Veronica Lake had taken this just like terrible dive, and then
Pretty cool.
So
for him, not for her.
No, it was pretty bad.
It's pretty cool for him that her standards had declined.
Oh yeah, I'm still hoping. I'm waiting for that, supply and demand curve for Selma Hayek to be into me. One day it's gonna happen.
She's got a lot of curves.
So every
too.
time he sees, Joe Turner or something, he's like, "Oh man, I'm fucking hooking up with this woman in her 40s." Next time he sees him, "Oh my God, she's fucking 35." Next time he sees him, she's Veronica Lake.
Joe Turner's like, every time you're showing up.
This is the same woman.
That is. I mean, the news keeps getting better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I thought she was 40. She's actually 35. Actually, she's Veronica Lake. I don't see a downside here.
I know.
So now in 55, he's about 30 years old now. He catches a break, and he writes this song, and he records it. It's called Heartlessly, and I can't find a copy anywhere of it. And there's this local DJ just plays it nonstop, and he's like, "This is the one. This is going to be the song." And so RCA Victor is like, "We love this song." They give him a manager, and then RCA buys the song, and then a week later they shelve it, and his manager leaves him, and he never hears back.
Wow.
And
Big bag of heroin shows up at his door.
yeah, if only. Could have sold that.
Being held by one Veronica Lake.
And he always figured that RCA loved the song, but didn't want it to be a hit because it was this white Jewish guy singing the blues. And so they set him up with the manager and didn't tell him, and then used that to take the song from him. And they never released the song, and no one else ever did it.
But then,
Why'd they Milli Vanilli him?
what's the scam there?
Well, the scam is that he thought, if that song goes, it was supposed to be this awesome song.
I know, but what does RCA get out of it?
They get him not doing it. They get someone else to do it.
Oh.
But I don't think anyone ever did.
Ah.
So they, it's like all the movie places and that buy a project.
So nobody else has it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he's like, he thinks about quitting everything. He's in his room for a while.
Except heroin.
Yeah. He's never did heroin.
I'm not the type of person to quit that.
But he realizes in this moment, he realizes that, he's probably never going to make it as a singer. But later in 55, through his, he's 30 years old, and through his 18-year-old cousin, he meets this high school kid, this 18-year-old high school kid named Mort Schumann.
Oh.
And Doc to Mort was like the
Morty, we gotta write some blues songs. What are you talking about, Doc? You don't even have a good hand.
But Dr. Mort is like, he's like the Mort is obsessed with blues music and and black music in general and all of these old blues guys.
We've seen the movie.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Then he invents rock and roll and shit.
The style like T-Bone Walker, one of these guys. And so they start writing songs and they click immediately because Mort's a really good piano player. And so he can do all the melodies, and Doc starts writing the words. And they hit it off immediately. And in 56, let's take a little break here.
Okay.
So I can get some more piss.
All right. We'll be right back, folks. And we're back.
Oh God, that is nice.
Now, you were saying something about what was it? T.J. Walker or something like that?
Oh, T-Bone Walker.
T-Bone Walker.
T-Bone Walker. I'm gonna play him on the Patreon.
PJ Butters.
T-Bone Walker's a fucking amazing. He's one of these guys. I heard his music and I was like, "This was made 5 years ago." No, it was made 100 years ago.
100.
Yeah, right.
Really?
Well, yeah, it's 2020.
Yeah, you're right. Very cool dude.
His name's T-Bone, yeah.
T-Bone Walker, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was short. Everybody, his last name is Tebow.
Oh, like the famous kind of football player, Timothy Tebow.
Right, but in the New Orleans style, not the...
Oh, Tibeaux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So
And
short T-Bone.
the New Orleans style. Well, John, is that okay by you?
Oh, yeah, it's all right on occasion.
So it's 1956. He's about 31. He's living in this place called Broadway Central. It's this decent little spot, and of course the lobby again. The lobby is the place where everybody's hanging out, and
You got to get to the lobby, guys.
Well, yeah, I mean that R. Kelly song.
The lobby?
Oh yeah. First it's the lobby, then the after party, and we got hotel room.
Nice.
It's the remix to Ignition.
Yeah. After that, it's the closet for some reason.
Yeah, for 12-ish episodes.
But see, a lot of these lobbies have they have like a mini restaurant down there too. You can get coffee, you get some late night snacks and
Now,
stuff.
are these lobbyists?
Yeah.
It might as well be. And he's standing at the Broadway Central, and these two young women moving down the hall, and they're like 18, 19, and he's talking to the bellboy about him, and he learns a little about him. He tells the bellboy, he's like, here's one of them's an artist, and her friend wants to be an actor. This
You an artist?
beautiful blonde woman, and he tells the bellboy, he's like, hey, tell the blonde woman that I know some people in the art world, and I can help her friend, meet some folks, and a bellboy tells him that, and so she'd be walking through the lobby, and she'd see people talking to this guy, and she'd be like, oh, he seems interesting, and then
He definitely
Yeah,
seems interesting.
and so she goes over
Guys,
and
he got his hand to do that.
He's getting pulled around on one of those luggage carts by the bellboy.
so
I have a lot of contacts.
Going up.
So she goes over one night, it's really late at night. She's, she's gonna go home and go to bed, and she's like, all right. She goes over and talks to him, and they just they do small talk, and she said it was just, they talked until the sun came up.
Huh.
And
sexual.
And he was sweet, and he listened, and she doesn't even remember if he ever talked about himself. He just listened to her talk about, she came from this like alcoholic, her father was an alcoholic in Indiana, and she moved out to New York because she wanted to be on Broadway, and she meets this guy, and he seems pretty interesting. And so every night after that, they would sit out in the lobby and talk.
Yeah.
And then they went up to, then he invited up to her room, his room, and they're hanging out in his room. And she's like, well, so what do you do? And
Oh, me?
and so so he puts on some music. And
I'm
she's
a
like,
doctor.
I've never heard this music before. She's never heard blues or anything like it. And he's playing some records for her, and he goes, hey, here's the song that I wrote that Ray Charles just recorded, and it hasn't come out yet, but I got a pressing of it.
It's the new shit.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
She's never heard of Ray Charles, and she doesn't know it. But he puts this on, and she hears this song.
Now you see, I'm crippled. He's blind.
Well,
Together, we're basically fully functional.
yeah, I think him and Ray, they had an understanding.
Yeah, the cool thing about Ray is that he doesn't know I'm crippled.
I don't even know he's blind.
And he's black, and I can't do shit about it.
Yeah. Man, why didn't I call myself T-Bone Walker or something?
Ironic.
Totally abled, Steve.
So
Totally able to
it sounds like a really lame superhero.
Perfectly abled.
Hey, I work at the Walmart.
I can do it on my own.
I'm normal. So he plays her this song that he wrote that Ray Charles recorded.
Now my room has got 2 windows, but the sunshine never comes through. It's always dark and dreary. Since I broke off, baby, with you, I live on a lonely avenue. My little girl wouldn't say I do, but I feel so sad and blue, and it's all because of you. I could cry, somebody, 'cause I live on lonely.
Lonely Avenue.
Lonely Avenue. Name of the
Very
book.
nice. It's a good ass song.
It became a good little hit for Ray Charles.
Yeah.
And you can only imagine where he got the idea to write that song.
What do you mean?
Look, he was stuck in his room all day.
Well, and the light never comes through because he's blind.
Yeah, well, sometimes there's a goddamn live wire tapping on it all night. I got 2 windows. There's a fucking electrical fire waiting to happen. I'm trapped up here, people.
Well, no, that's how they wrote Electric Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
Take that shit to the next level.
I know, right?
You gotta take it to the next level.
You gotta, yeah.
So this is a song he wrote after
The fire escape doesn't mean shit to me.
So Doc wrote this song right after noon when he was walking around on his crutches and he just imagined, the street full of crippled people. Because he wrote in the when he was doing like retrospective diaries in the 80s, and he wrote that he never wanted to be one of those pitiable crippled person. He didn't want people to.
Don't you pity me?
Yeah, he always wanted to, to try and work. He didn't want people to feel bad for him.
Sure,
but he also didn't want people.
He didn't want to get that Mr. T attention. The pity.
Yeah.
Oh.
But he saw the whole street full of crippled people, and he just and he put it into words.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all these fucking cripples.
And it said Ray Charles read it, and Ray Charles he didn't read it. Maybe he read it. And as soon as he took it in,
It's really callous, man.
It's not that he couldn't read,
Right.
Ray Charles really felt it, just hit him immediately, and he's like, "Yeah, this is
like,
it.
oh, I
This
get
is the song."
this.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I can't even find the bathroom. You guys just have a very long wait for it.
But once you get in, you have all this space.
It's my office.
The blonde woman, her name is Willie Burke, and all of a sudden they were hanging out every night, and after a while, Doc started putting poems under her door.
Uh-oh.
And they started getting real flirty, and she was like, I don't know. And she was going home for Christmas, and Doc asked her to marry him. And she was like, I can't do that.
I can't. I gotta go to some corn-fed maniac.
Yeah, there's a full. The able-bodied Steve is calling me.
But she goes home to Indiana, and she's her fucking alcoholic father. And
he's at it again.
And her mom, Doc calls her while he's there and he asks her to marry again. She says no, and she tells her mom about it. She's like, "Oh, there's this guy. I really like him. I'm interested in." And they're really I think they're Catholic or Christian or whatever. And
okay.
And she tells her mom, she's like, "Oh, he's Jewish.
Jewish.
He's Jewish. First she goes, he's crippled and he's a songwriter." And he's Jewish. And her mom goes, "If you marry him, I'm going to jump out the window."
Ah.
And Willie...
Promise?
Well, as soon as Willie hears that, she goes, "For the first time in my life at that point, I decided to make a decision that I wanted to make and not someone else. Not do it for someone else." And so when she got back to New York, she said she would marry him.
Wow.
And I'm going to show you a picture of her. She's just.
Mom didn't jump out the window.
No, she didn't. Didn't make it to the wedding either.
Oh, didn't make it, huh?
No.
She had to stay with the alcoholic husband.
Well, pretty much.
In that paradise.
So this is from 1964. This is about 10 years. About
my
8 years
dear
later.
God.
Yeah.
I used to fuck Veronica Lake. She said she was 40, but she's really 35, so not that bad. You'll do. Oh my God, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, she's
Look at
beautiful.
that.
He's a pig.
Oh my God.
I mean, he is.
He's not a
pig.
bad looking guy. He's just
No, he's not. Well, you know what? Actually, he looks like a very happy man.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
He
He's a
definitely is
very happy.
yes.
He's
Hot.
a great. Well,
Hot.
he has a great smile.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's
Sure.
he's what do you call jovial, gregarious.
Yeah.
And if this was my wife and I was him, I'd be happy too.
You turn the page now?
I will. I'm still focusing on.
There's more to tell here.
He's got some cool crutches now.
Yeah.
His crutch game is up. Let me just. They live in Long Island, John.
Well, hold on. Let me get there. He's reading the book out
I
loud.
know.
now.
Yeah. Casually browsing.
It's like my brother. He'd be like, my brother would be like, "Hey, can I take a look at that picture?" And then he'd be like, "I want to finish the article." And he'd be like, "I just it's for the."
Listen, man. You gave me the book. I look at the book.
I look at the book. So
You give me the doc.
So in '56, at Christmas in '56, when I think it was when Willie's in Indiana, the Brill Building had just started building up.
The what building?
The Brill Building in New York, which would become famous for songwriting, but it hadn't yet been there. But so he started going. He goes to the Brill Building. I think Atlantic's there. I think he's still.
Oh yeah, they got out of the restaurant.
Yeah. They started making they hit records, whatever, and. He's in the hallway waiting to meet with someone, because you would just go door to door and you would just be like, "I got a song," and then somebody would be like, "Nah," and then you'd go to the next door and there'd be like another company, and it was just companies the whole way. And he's waiting in the hallway and he sees these two young. He's like, "Man, these fucking who are these like kids? They're good looking kids." And
we're from Liverpool.
one of them, Jerry Wexler is he's at Atlantic now. He wants to meet with him. I think Wexler's the guy that turned the Billboard charts. He changed race records into R&B. So before R&B charts was a thing, it was called race records. And I think Wexler's the guy who's like, "Yeah, what if we didn't do that?"
Sure. Yeah.
Race records.
Yeah.
Hey, white people have music over here. And so anyway, so he's in the hallway and he's shooting, and he meets these two guys. He meets these guys, Mike Stoller and Jerry Lieber. And he's like, "Wait a minute. I know you guys." And they're like, they wrote Hound Dog for Big Mama Thornton. And she had like a minor hit with it, and then Elvis did it, and it fucking blew up. And so they're like, toast of the town. These guys, they have this huge, I think it went number one. They have number one song. And they start talking, and Stoller goes, "Wait a minute, I know you from somewhere." He's the doc. He goes, "I know you from somewhere." And Stoller jumps up and he starts shaking his hips and going, "Allie, Allie," and sings the jingle at him. And they immediately hit it off like that.
I thought you were going to say,
I was a kid that do that.
I pelted you with a snowball.
Jeez.
I turned you into a great musician, huh? Wow.
Look at me, huh?
I wrote Hound Dog.
Man, I can walk.
You ever see Elvis shake his hips like that? You maniac.
So,
Boy, I wish you could do that.
Shortly before this, Ray Charles, "Lonely Avenue" had gone on the charts. It went number 6 on the R&B charts. So now Doc's got a legitimate, hit on his hand, legitimate songwriting credit. And he's back in the Atlantic offices, and he runs into Stoller, and he says, "Hey, Stoller's working with the Coasters." You know the Coasters, John?
No.
The Coasters did a song Charlie Brown. They did a bunch of.
I don't know him.
Yeah. Okay. See.
Yeah, I know.
I think they're Yakety Yak.
Oh, don't tell
Yakety
me
Yak
that.
come back. So that was kind of like that was one of their songs. And Doc said, he says to Stoller, he says, "You're writing for the Coasters. I got a song that I think would work for the Coasters." He didn't mean to write it for him, but he wrote a song, and so he hands Stoller a demo that he did of this song called "Youngblood." And Stoller's like, "Oh, cool," and that's it. And in '57, Willie's 24th birthday, they go to Doc's parents' house. They have dinner. Doc slips his mother's wedding ring on her finger.
Wow.
His parents are like, and his mom, she's talking to Willie on her own. She goes, "We never thought he'd get married." And they're just like, not only is he getting married, but it's just this very lovely woman.
Yeah.
They're like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Expected other things. So they get married in this large rollicking ceremony that year in June of '57. Rollicking, yeah.
Wow.
And they go, they get married at this church, and it's I think it's a Catholic church, and so
Or Christian.
yeah, whatever, same idea. And Doc's parents, almost no one's there because Doc's family can't go in.
No.
And Willie's family is in Indiana
And won't come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then they go to this ceremony, and
So it's just like fucking DJ Walker and Able-Bodied Steve and those guys.
DJ Don and Crummy.
Yeah. Uncle Don too. I'm still alive.
So, but they get married.
Alley. He's blowing everyone along with the Transformer.
The polio doctors, the snowball boys. We got a real motley crew in here.
Motley Crue was there too.
So
No smoking in the boys' room.
they have this
Handicapped. Smoking in the handicap stall in the boys' room.
So
Ample room.
So after the wedding, they have their ceremony, and it's just it's a fun affair, and everybody people start dancing, and Doc's like, Willie, you should go dance, and Willie's like, I only want to dance with you, and Doc's like, just go dance, don't worry about it. And
Do the horizontal mambo later.
she dances with his brother, and she dances with Mort, and she dances with his father, and it's all good. And Doc's, he says, it's fine. Later, he would admit that, some darkness got into his head. But that night, they go to the Waldorf Astoria. They got a suite there.
Oh.
They break the bed.
Oh my dear God.
They not from sex. Doc was just getting on it, and he fell onto it, and it broke.
No, you're fucking no.
Maybe it was sex, but her story is that he just fell onto it.
Fucking motherfucker.
But then they honeymoon in northern New York, and on their way back, they stop at this small diner, get some food. And Doc's just flipping through the jukebox. He's, a songwriter. He's flipping through the jukebox, and he goes, "Hey, there's a new Coasters record on here.
Hey, check this out.
It's got this song. Holy shit, that's Youngblood."
Hey.
And they played it 25 times in a row. Which
Broke the bank.
yeah.
I wrote this. Sure you did, pal.
With what hand?
But no, he sees his name. It says Pomus Stoller.
Hey.
Oh, Pomus and Stoller.
Yeah, so he got credited. And so he sees that in the diner. He calls up Wexler at Atlantic. He goes, "Hey, I just saw Youngblood." So Wexler goes, "Oh, you want some money, huh?" It was top 10 on the pop chart, which is the chart. That's the Billboard chart. And Wexler immediately wires him $1,500. That's about $14,000 today. That's just an advance on the royalties.
Wow, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's right in time for the honeymoon, too. That's nice.
Yeah, on the way back.
We're going to be able to cover this diner ticket.
Yeah. I mean,
Fix a bit.
Yeah, you already pinched your mom's ring.
We're going to buy this Waffle House.
So he wasn't at, I was saying Atlantic, the Brill Building earlier. He wasn't there yet. In 57, now he's in the Brill Building. This is 1619 Broadway. This is the Brill Building. This is where it would become famous for the song. Simon and Garfunkel started there, and it was, if you were a songwriter, you would go there. That was it. You would go there and you go door to door and you'd sell your songs, and you'd get kicked out. And
Hi, mister.
Yeah,
Fancy a record?
So Doc and Mort would go. They would go door to door, and Willie would bring him. And fucking Willie would get harangued by all of the men. Like there one time, a man was just chasing her around a desk.
Oh my God.
It was just just imagine Mad Men, but worse somehow.
Yeah.
But so then Doc runs into an old girlfriend of his who says that she has a friend of the friend of hers in this little pickle, and she's got a proposal for him. And she says her neighbor, who's her friend, he says he's a dance instructor, and he's stooping this old widow. And
That's nice.
And the old widow, and he wants to get away. He wants to keep stooping her,
Of course.
but he wants to get away. He wants to not have to be around her all the time.
Hey, it's tale as old as time.
And so he told the widow that he has a record company, and the widow offered him $10,000. And so this girlfriend is like, "Hey, can you just start a record company for him, so he has something to use the $10,000 for?" And so Mort and Doc move into the Brill Building with $10,000 and start their own record company. He calls it R&B Records. And they have no hits. Nothing happens because they don't have enough money, because the money runs out. Because when you press something and ship it, you don't get paid until the second pressing.
Okay.
So it's even if you put something out,
Right.
until the second
You have to recoup your costs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they don't realize that, so it goes under pretty quickly. Plus, the old woman shows up at the office, and
Fuck me!
The widow's not there, and she sees that it's
So wait, explain this whole widow
You could do the
thing
chain
again?
and fucking here and the stripping. And
Yeah, because I don't understand how a record company comes out of a.
So this guy, he's telling this widow that he can't be around her all
Who's
the
this
time.
guy?
this friend of his old girlfriend, of Doc's old girlfriend.
Okay, Doc's old girlfriend has a friend.
Has a friend who's a dance instructor who's stripping this old woman. And he doesn't want to be around her all the time, the dance instructor.
But he does want to fuck her.
Yeah, and take her money.
Right, so he needs to have...
So she gives him $10,000 for his record company.
The widow does.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And so,
Here, honey, go start a
using
business.
this money, Doc starts the record company with Mort and this guy.
Is the
No,
dance instructor.
he's never there.
Right, but he's telling the widow, "Oh, I'm running this big record company. That's why I can't be there."
Right. That's why I can't shtup you all the time.
Right. Because
Right. I'm so busy with this record
And then
company.
she shows up at the place, and he's not there, and she says, "Oh, it's a fucking scam. He got me." And that's it. She doesn't put any more money into it. They don't recoup the costs from their. And so now they're out. But while they do this, because they had the place, they meet. They meet artists. And they meet this guy named Walden Robert Casado. But by then he was going by Bobby Darin.
Yes.
And they have
that's the
demo some
"Don't Worry,
songs.
Be Happy" guy. No, that's Bobby McFerrin.
Beyond the Sea is Bobby Darin.
Beyond the sea, somewhere. That one. Mm-hmm. Waiting for me.
Yeah.
See.
Died tragically.
Did he?
Bobby Darin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stripping accident.
Yeah, it
Did
was
he
a very,
tragically
very,
die?
very murky.
Murky Waters. Muddy Waters. Another
just-
songwriter.
Another like a night like a. Is this a murder? Like one of those kinds of intriguing deaths of a guy famous in his time.
Yeah. So anyway, but so they meet some guys. Darren does a demo for him, and never moves. They got the band The Crowns to record "Kiss and Make Up," and they meet this guy, a friend of his introduced. I can't find anything in this guy, but he sounds amazing. This guy named Cy Rich, who is a Miami financier who his big job was setting up celebrities with hookers.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I can't find any fucking thing on this
Well,
guy.
that's because he was doing his job right.
Yeah.
Very Scotty Bowers.
Yes.
Me, I'm nobody.
But later, Willie gives birth to their first kid, a girl named Sharon. And after the company disappears, him and Mort are still doing their normal song thing. But then his friend Otis Blackwell. Otis Blackwell is the guy, the songwriter, this legendary songwriter that he was friends with. Really, really fun Letterman interview from the late '80s. And Otis Blackwell introduces him to this guy named Otis Blackwell wrote "Don't Be Cruel," "Great Balls of Fire," "Fever," "All Shook Up." Fucking classics.
Yeah.
And he introduced him to this guy named Paul Case, and Case worked for this company called Hill and Range, which is a publishing company. So Doc and Mort, they sell some songs to him. Nothing really takes off, but the great thing about them at this point now is that they're young. They write rock and roll, and like teenage angst, even though
It's the choice of a new generation.
Yeah, I mean, Doc wasn't a fucking teenager, but he knew how to, sappy love shit.
He had some angst,
and they needed a rock and roll writer, and so they got a 3-year contract.
This one's called the Snowball Beatdown.
They got a 3-year contract. Doc was making $200 a week. Mort was making $100. $200 a week is about $95,000.
This next tune's called "My Fire Escape's a Jigsaw Trap."
$200 a week is what?
About $95,000 a year.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So yeah, I mean that's fucking set money, right? But Mort was just like all over the place. Fucking young kid, He was all over the place.
Rascal.
And this payday came at a good time because they were kind of like running on fumes. This is from Lonely Avenue. By November, Mort had been expelled from City College and was unloading crates at a minimum wage job downtown. When Doc phoned him from Case's office with the news, Mort didn't have enough cash for a cab or even subway fare and walked to 1650 Broadway in a blizzard. Hours later, he stumbled in the lobby of the building looking so bedraggled and cold that someone handed him a $10 bill and told him to get something to eat.
Oh my God. I wrote a hit record, sure, buddy.
Yeah, we all did.
Get something to eat.
Fucking asshole.
I told you not to let people like this inside.
So they're usually working with like young hotshot kids who are like just pretty faces that aren't that good at singing.
New Kids on the Block.
Kind of, yeah.
Johnny Storm.
Doc's 34 by now, you know. But they work with this guy named Fabian who sings the song "I Am a Man." You know, it's very teenage.
Yeah, that sounds so teenage.
But it goes top 40.
I'm Fabian.
Yeah.
I am a man.
I'm a transformer.
Oh, I'll blow you.
But it goes top 40.
Tapping on the window.
As long as they're making fucking money.
I never judged.
Frankie, they have a song for Frankie Avalon, Bobby Rydell,
Oh, nice.
Jimmy Darren. They're just churning out hits. And then they write this song. Mort and Doc write this song that they thought would be good for the Mystics. The Mystics were like a local doo-wop group. And but they
Gotta get back in time.
they were like nice kids. But Hill and Range says, "Oh, this would be good. This would be good for Dion and the Belmonts."
Hey.
And Dion and the Belmonts were just like, they were like local thugs. They were like stealing hubcaps. They were all like teenagers stealing hubcaps and like slick back hair. They're troublemakers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we turn the hubcaps into frisbees, see?
We melt them down and press records on them.
Yeah. Hardcore shit. Hardcore thug action to the max, Jack. It's that hardcore New York beatdown sound.
This is what you're looking for.
It's a classic New York hardcore beatdown sound, Darren.
So Doc has this song. He wrote it for the Mystics, but H&R gives it to Dion and the Belmonts. And it was originally called "It's Great to Be Young and in Love." And then Doc was thinking about it later. He's like, teenagers being in love sucks. It's not great to be in love as a teenager.
Sucks.
Fucking thing sucks.
So he rewrites
What, with your curly hands and not being able to walk?
So he rewrites it. He rewords it. And Dion and the Belmonts record it, and it becomes this.
Parents Just Don't Understand by Will Smith. Oh, this is great. You know it?
I do.
Each time we have a quarrel,
Oh, Dion.
it almost breaks my heart, 'cause I'm so afraid that we will have to part. Each night
So I have to get it right or pay the
Well, Dion said when I'm quoting from the book here. So Dion said when he didn't want to record it at first because he thought the song sounded, quote, faggy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, he's a hard, street dog.
Yeah.
next day I feel so sad.
Man, are we done? Can I go out and steal some fucking hood ornaments?
I beat up an old lady on the way here.
So what? Did she recognize me from this faggy song?
But this song,
Hey, I know that voice, mister. She called me a fag when I was beating her ass.
so the song,
I'm playing a part.
the song goes number 5 in the pop charts. Of course, it goes gold, but number 5 in the pop charts, and then later in March, it's number 5 in the pop charts. This is 59. In May of that year, 3 different versions go top 20 in England.
Jeez.
And so because of this, these shows in England invite him and more to England, being like, you guys are these songwriters of America. Tell us about it. And they spend all of these months in England going on shows. More performs live on a show. And they have they show up at the airport and there's fucking fans.
Look, it's the writers.
These blokes are after writing "Fuck Me, I'm Adolescent," isn't I? Are you the ones that wrote that tune?
We tried to get the singers over, but they cashed in the plane tickets for drugs. Some real hooligans, they is. The writers have to do.
Dion says about the session, he says, we were in the studio with a piano and a genius. That was his interpretation about it. And Dylan said of that song, he said, everything you need to know about everything is in that song. And Dion, I think pointed out, like, Doc brought the blues into it, that making it sad.
Yeah.
Instead of like
I love being
fun.
in love.
Yeah.
No, why?
He brought that whole aspect of can you believe this shit to it.
Yeah.
Believe this shit.
I can believe this.
I gotta be a fucking teenager in love with my curly fingers.
So while they're in England, though, I don't know if it's Elvis's manager or someone who worked with Elvis was coming through England, and he said, "Hey, I'm on my way to Germany," because Elvis was stationed there. He said, "I'm on my way to Germany to see Elvis. You got any songs for him?" And so they're like, "Oh fuck!" So him and Mort cobbled together this song called "A Mess of Blues." They're like, "Fuck it, sure, why not?" And then that's that. They move on. And they,
What?
And it goes to Elvis, and Elvis. It'll come up again.
Okay.
But at the time, it was just like, cool. Hey, here, fucking Elvis, of course.
Right.
Elvis is awesome. Yeah. And when they get back from England, they spent like months there. But by the end of '59, they had I think 11 songs chart. So it's like one song a month. They're making a shit
It's a
ton
hit
of money.
factory.
Yeah, exactly. Only Lieber and Stoller had more.
Well, Finkel and Einhorn.
Einhorn is Finkel.
So the Hill and Range moves them to this giant office, and then after like a week, they're like, this office is too big because they didn't do any work, and so then they decide to move into this tiny, cramped office where there's like one window. And Doc jokes that he's like, if songwriting doesn't work out, at least we can jump out the window. But he's making so much money. Him and Willie buy a house in Lynbrook, Long Island.
Hey, now we're talking.
Strong Island.
You better believe it.
Doc buys a silver Cadillac convertible off the floor and pays cash.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Does it have handbrakes
Nope.
or drive itself?
No. By I think around this point, he's not even driving anymore because he almost crashed.
Again?
Yeah, while Willie was with him.
Oh,
and so
dear
now
God.
she's they move out to Long Island. Now she's driving him in the city.
That doesn't tell you like the inherent sexism of the time.
Yeah.
No, honey, no woman's gonna drive my Cadillac.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Who should drive?
honey. I got it. All right, strap in my earlobe to the steering wheel.
It's just him doing donuts when he's trying his best.
I can do it myself, woman.
Damn it.
So now they fucking he's made it, and so at Hillary he starts working with this guy named Ben Nelson, who eventually would go by the name Benny King.
He starts working with him?
Well, him and Mort are writing these songs. They're like, okay, these are for you, Ben, because Ben's with this band called the Crowns that I had mentioned earlier, and eventually the original Drifters were the band. The Drifters were they all just left. And the band, they were all replaced with another band. So the Crowns became the Drifters. And then when the Crowns started touring as the Drifters, all the Drifters fans were like, no, fuck this. This isn't them.
You're
and so the Drifters, they started tanking. And so they had to start over again.
Right.
But, Benny King and the Drifters start working with Doc. And Doc and Mort are really they're on fire right now, and they write this song that
I mean, they're cruising down the road at 88 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And Mort had been like he'd been traveling a lot, and he had gone to Mexico, and the melody is starting getting infused with sort of a Latin rhythm, and so you combine that with the lyrics and now Hill and Range is working with the full, like they have an orchestra. They have a giant studio with an orchestra because it's all done live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's not just an office where the office people are singing backup now.
Sure.
Now the office people are playing the accordion.
Yeah, they used to be putting out a grease fire.
And so there's this moment with the Drifters where Benny King is like he's pretty upset. He's not feeling. He feels like he's not getting paid enough. He's about to quit, and then Doc gives him this song and. He doesn't quit after it because it just hit him. It hit Benny King, and that song is this song.
Oh hell yeah!
You just hear this yeah,
The little. You know it, John.
This man.
Oh God!
yeah. He just fucking comes out like that. Just fucking tears it up.
Damn.
Was this in Stand By Me too?
Oh, I don't know. I know. Well, Yakety Yak's in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it is.
What was this magic? I mean, it's in a lot of movies, but it was definitely in one of those movies from our childhood too.
Sweeter than wine.
That guitar, though.
Yeah.
Mexican guitar.
Yeah.
Such a banger, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this song goes 16 in the top 100. Huge hit for the Drifters.
What was above this?
I don't know. That's a good question. Hey, you listen to the Patreon. Maybe I'll look it up.
Oh,
And
nice.
and so now that now it's early 1960. Doc is he's just going through papers at his house and he sees all the wedding invitations, and he remembers the dance, and he starts just scribbling.
Kill list
on the back of all the wedding invitations that never went out. He starts just scribbling lyrics, and he wanted this. He started because Mort came back from Mexico with this Latin rhythm. Doc started writing in a way where he said he wanted it to sound the lyrics to sound like it was a translation, an English translation of another language, and so it was a little overwritten.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and so he wrote this song that. And this is
It's like those emails I get. Hello, my one good friend.
Are you ready for most rigid penisly?
Is this that classic "Hello, my one good friend"?
Break her hotel bed frame with this one.
And so,
Do you know why they're written like that? Those emails?
To weed out the morons.
yeah.
No, it's to weed in the morons.
Weed them in.
It's to weed out anybody that wouldn't catch all the errors.
Yeah, hello, my one good friend. Oh, hey, how you doing?
I have so many friends.
Shit.
My one good
Oh, my one good friend needs some money. I gotta wire him some money.
I'm his only good friend.
What do you expect me to do?
I feel like a bad friend. I didn't even know he was my friend.
Fuck. I'm a piece of shit. He deserves my money.
God damn it.
He says he's gonna give me some Viagra too.
So he writes Doc. So Doc writes this song. Just thinking about the wedding.
Writing on the back of the wedding invitations where other men were dancing with his bride.
And so he writes this song.
Please don't grind up on my baby.
Well, I mean, kind of. One of my favorite covers of this. I'll do it I'll talk about it on the Patreon again. $5 a month. And
Or more.
This becomes this was released on the B-side of their album, and then Dick Clark flips the record over and plays it nonstop and becomes the #1 hit in America. And that song is the Drifters.
And it goes a little something like this.
Hit it.
You can dance.
Oh.
Every dance with the guy who gives you
Yeah, I just, think about the lyrics.
You tight.
You can dance with these other
You
fucks.
can smile. Every smile for the man who held your hand neath the pale moonlight.
Ooh.
But don't forget who's taking you home and in whose arms you're gonna be.
Oh, crutches.
So darling, save the last dance for me.
Now, is that Last Dance the bed breaking? Is that
How can we dance while our bed is breaking? Have your fun. Laugh and sing.
It's a lot of hits.
I mean, legendary hits.
Yeah.
To anyone. But don't forget
Catchy.
who's taking you home and in whose arms you're gonna be.
And in whose arms you're going to be very, like,
So darling,
heightened speech, like you said.
Yeah, and his Willie talks about it in Doc, and she's like, I can't. That song
Breaks your
I
heart.
can't talk about it without breaking down because the song was written for me.
Yeah.
It's so obvious when you.
Yeah.
I never knew the connection.
Yeah, it's really
but I loved
beautiful.
the song, and then I thought,
Yeah, I never knew the impact of me twerking in his brother's face.
I mean, he was really burying his face in there.
Yeah, yeah. He was really digging for gold, man.
He got it.
He went deep that night.
Plus, I farted.
Who's laughing now, asshole?
If you're just joining us, just listen to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos where we fancy ourselves a dumb show for smart people,
Yeah.
fart jokes, etc., so on and so forth.
So fought.
So fought, so good. Man. That fart really shook up the world.
Sure did. Well, speaking of shook up the world, so right around this time he moves into.
I'm moving stuff around. I'm sorry, I unplugged the stuff.
No, it's okay.
Lindenhurst.
Can you plug
Can you
that?
plug the fucking thing in, man?
So he's like, Willie's she's still trying out for Broadway, and I think she gets her like a legit Broadway part.
Hey.
She would eventually become like a star on Broadway.
Big fucking deal.
And
Hey, you're that lady who that song about all those guys is about.
well, no one knew that.
Yeah, right.
Forever.
Sure.
But it doesn't make sense for her to drive him in. So he starts staying at a hotel that's right across the street from where he's working.
Still has an hour-long commute.
That's very good.
Thank you.
And it's called the Hotel Forest. And of course, so what do? He started hanging in the lobby.
Forrest Gump, like him.
He started hanging in the lobby there, and it was right near Madison Square Garden, so all the boxers, would stay there. And so he started, there's pictures,
And he wanted to be a boxer.
yeah, and it's him, there's pictures of him talking to Muhammad Ali. Him and Muhammad Ali would spend time just sitting in the booth and just fucking probably just yelling at each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, can you help me find these snowball kids?
Man, look at you. You're never going to have any problems walking or anything.
Yeah, there's this doctor who used to make us all just spread eagle and fucking flip our legs around. That guy really sucked, man. You whip his ass?
By the way, really quick thing about Muhammad Ali. I saw a clip the other day. It's a clip of Muhammad Ali and Customato slapboxing. It's
Yeah.
67-year-old Customato and like prime Ali. Maybe, late 30s, early 40s Ali, so prime enough. And they're slapboxing, and Cuss is bobbing. 67-year-old man Customato, who, if you don't know, would go on to train Mike Tyson.
Iron Mike.
Iron Mike, Kid Dynamite, baddest man on the planet, and star of this year's Shark Week.
Someone's going to get big.
Damn, Shark Week is hard. Woo.
Have you seen the commercial for that?
Oh, yeah.
He really
Yeah.
says someone's going to get big.
It's Tyson
that's very
versus
good.
Jaws.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Brain bunch.
they're slapboxing. Cuss is like really ducking down, Bob, and then he fucking just and he catches Ali on the jaw. He slips one in, and he walks away and goes, "Did I catch it that time?" And it's just like the most badass clip. It's really cool. Mm-hmm. Anyways,
And then Ali perpetrates a serious ass whooping on the old man.
yeah,
I got your jaw right here.
it's pretty bad.
Yeah, Ali, you wouldn't mind kicking on my enemy's ass? My brother sniffed my wife's fart at one
I'll
time.
write a song about you, man.
So the lobby of Hotel Forest, right? It's like a perfect place for all kinds of like underworld people, but also like hot people. Jack Benny's a regular there. Duke Ellington's entire orchestra is there.
Smoking cigarettes like crazy.
The guy Murph the Surf, a Miami jewel thief who stole the Star of India from the Museum of Natural History.
Murph the Surf.
he was arrested there.
That sounds like a profile.
Yeah.
Damon Runyon Jr.
Mike Buffano.
Paul Buffano. Now, was Trevor Manmack there?
Sam Speed. Or
Arbala, Richard
Richard Balla, Dick Baller.
This guy named Johnny Jungletree, who was this just insane alcoholic, but it was a lot of fun. He was a decent musician too.
Yeah, he was an alcoholic.
When he got drunk, he was a black guy who got drunk, and he said every time he got drunk, he wanted to fight the tallest white man he could find.
And one night, Doc was that man.
No, thankfully, him and Doc were friends. Also, there was just this old, bedraggled, funny man who was always staying there. He became close with Rodney Dangerfield.
I was going to say, did he keep talking about how he didn't have any respect?
Yeah. And
a very unrespectable man was hanging around in a bathrobe.
Yeah.
and in fact,
routinely been disrespected.
I think the story is that Doc got him connections to get him onto Jerry Lewis's telethon, and they all watched it from the lobby where he promptly bombed.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Because I mean, it's a telethon for crippled kids. You think you had it bad?
The guy who got me this gig was on crutches too. I had no idea.
He made something out of himself. What's your excuse, kid?
But
How tall are you?
there's a story.
I know a black guy that want to beat the shit out of you.
Where's the respect fundraiser?
There's a story of some guy who stole Duke Ellington's boots.
Oh.
And he was in the lobby and he tried to sell them to Duke Ellington's manager. And Duke Ellington's manager was like, I think I know someone who would really like these boots. And then he called the cops.
Wow.
Pretty happening in the lobby.
That sounds like it.
Quite a scene.
Yeah. So this is 1960. And so later in 1960, Elvis releases a song called
Costello?
Elvis. It released a song called "The Mess of Blues." Doc and Mort had completely forgot about
And
it.
that's the one he gave to him in Germany.
Yeah. Gave to him when he, yeah. And Elvis loves the song. And so Elvis asks his people to ask them to give him some more songs. And so they write a song called "Surrender." And in 61 it goes number 1.
Huh.
And Elvis likes it so much. Elvis, I think this is one. Elvis, it was another song. They wrote another song called "Little Sister," which becomes another big hit for Elvis.
Uh-oh.
Christ.
Oh, brother.
And the genesis of the song is that your older sister treated me bad, but I like you.
Lisa Marie, one of these days you're going to turn 16. I'm going to marry you.
Little sister, please don't do to me what your big sister done.
Oh, I think I know that song.
Yeah. Ry Cooder did a
Hey, Ry
fucking
Cooder.
awesome cover of it.
Ry Cooder is the guy that he fucking made Buena Vista Social Club blow up.
Right. And so they become the favorite writers for the House of Elvis, as it's called.
And not Cooter. Cooter.
Yeah.
Sure.
Ry Cooder is my stage name.
And Elvis, to thank him, he calls them both at their houses one night. And Doc,
Thomas, will you?
he picks up the phone and they're like, Elvis is on the phone for you. And he's like, fuck you, because he thought it was a prank. He just hung up. And so he never got to talk to him. But by now, because of the hits for Elvis, now him and Mort are each making $50,000 a year. It's about $430,000 today, just from songwriting. Just imagine that.
Yeah.
It's fucking. There's one guy who does that now. It's that Swedish fucking fake doctor.
Oh, yeah, that guy writes for especially like in the 90s and 2000s, was writing every pop hit.
Yeah.
All the Britney Spears shit.
Ace-O bass.
No. He was writing American hits.
Nice.
The ones that matter.
62, Willie gets pregnant with his son. His son is a very interesting guy. In the documentary, he's very thoughtful, but the whole documentary he wears sunglasses in the entire time he's
like
on
Pete
it.
Maravich's brother.
He wears they're like big triangular Oakleys.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Huh.
But he does say something very interesting about Doc, where he says
Kamikazes, 2 for 1.
he says it in a lot of heroes' stories. The hero is is someone who's is floating down a river, and they always they grasped onto something and pulled themselves out. And he said, for my dad, he was always just pulling his head above water.
Well, I mean,
Or something to that effect.
you know what I mean?
Oh, it was Marco Polio.
Yeah, but around this time, Mort's making so much fucking money. He's like 25, and he's traveling all the
and he
time.
doesn't have a wife, kids.
Yeah, he's doing a shit ton of drugs. Eventually, he would become huge in France.
Oh.
And he would have like a house there where everybody was just walking around naked all the time, and he was a huge singer in France.
And
he's still remembered in France today. No, there's still time. I think he wrote for George. I want to say Pompidou, but it's not Pompidou. It's
Michael.
But this famous French poet who became a singer who would basically just sing his way through his songs. He became huge. But so Mort's traveling all the time. They start splitting up a little bit.
Leonard Cohen.
No, not Leonard Cohen. And then Mort goes through this crazy divorce, which I'm going to talk about on the Patreon because there's no time here, but it's fantastic.
Mort goes through the divorce?
Yeah,
Nice.
with this famous Jewish heiress, it's wonderful. The New York paper has a beautiful headline about it.
Huh.
Yeah.
I like that.
But then, okay, so 64, the Beatles do Ed Sullivan. Dylan's getting big. Elvis still making bank, but everybody at the Brill Building is like, oh, all of these guys are writing their own songs now.
Right.
What the fuck are we gonna do?
With this bloated.
Well, yeah. What are we gonna do with all the
Pill
people who
poppin'.
aren't playing instruments? Simon and Garfunkel are going to play instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what the fuck are we going to do? I mean, fucking they're taking acid. The Beatles are taking acid. How do you top that?
Yeah.
Elvis is taking Halcyon.
Taking a bathroom break.
He's taking a shit. Elvis is taking a shit.
I think he's doing the handicap one too.
Doc's pissed.
But the lobby at the forest, even though work's not going that well, Doc's still making decent money from royalties and stuff, and the lobby at the forest is really hopping. And a young songwriter shows at the Brill Building, and everybody there is like, oh, we're not, if there's this older songwriter who's looking for people, go hang out with him. This young guy's name is Scotty Fagan, who becomes is like a pretty decent musician of his own right. But he starts writing. He shows up with Doc, and he works hard. And he starts writing with Doc. Around this time, was a guy named Phil Spector.
Oh,
him and Doc. Doc is like, this guy is talented, he's ambitious, and he's also insane.
Yeah.
So they kind of got along perfectly.
Yeah. This guy ties me up and points a gun at me, and I love him.
Yeah.
I've never written a better song in my life.
How else was I going to pay him? That's what I used to do. That's a point.
I ran out of heroin.
But also now, Doc and Willie are, Doc's spending all his time at this hotel. He's at the hotel 5 days a week. Willie is, she's traveling with shows. And,
She's busy. She's a woman about town.
Yeah. And also, by now she's in her, mid 30s.
Oh,
nice.
She's like, when she moved there, she's a kid,
Sure.
And you even see it in their wedding videos. It's insanely young and beautiful. And then, when, you reach a point in your life where you go, oh, I still want to do these things, and while I love the past, this is, there's other things.
Got to live in the now.
Life isn't what you see when you're 20.
It's not all lollipops and rainbows.
Yeah, not even that song, Sunshine Lollipops.
Well,
Yeah. But then so Doc, he's mainly in a wheelchair now because he wasn't walking that much and gets pretty fucking fat.
he does get pretty fat.
And so one night Scotty Fagan's pushing him around the streets. And you also imagine, it wasn't until like the 80s where streets had like sliding curves or sliding curbs,
Yeah,
where
it was just a curb at the crosswalk.
yeah,
There was
like
no...
if you were blind, there wasn't a fucking person to fucking help you. Then you were going to fall off a curb. That's
Right.
how it was.
You're going home in an ambulance.
And yeah, if you had a wheelchair, you had to fucking clomp your way down into the street and then clomp your way off of the fucking street. And so him and Scotty are, Scotty pushing him down the street and, takes his eye off it or something, and they hit a curb or something, and Doc falls out of the wheelchair. His legs tuck underneath him. He fucking tears his knees up.
Oh, it's all folded in half.
Scotty can't even pick him up and put him back in the wheelchair. They have to get someone and then they bring him to the ER. And when he gets to the hospital, he's in the hospital for a couple of weeks.
No doctors.
And he's and one day he's wheeling himself down the hallway, and he sees this old man in front of him, like just down the hallway. He's like, wait a minute, that's my dad.
What?
Yeah, and he goes up. He's talking to his dad, and his dad's like, "Oh yeah, and also your mom is 2 stories up."
Oh,
The whole, everybody but his brother was just in the hospital.
Whoa, we're all shacked up together.
Look at us.
And, then when he's there, he's hanging out in the lobby, and
Gotta be in the lobby, dude. There's mints.
he meets this family, and this family has this 12-year-old daughter who's dying of cancer, and he's talking to them, and he finds out that they're really big fans of I think it's Bobby Darin, and he calls Bobby Darin. Bobby Darin shows up with 2 cars full of packages, just bringing him gifts.
I thought you were gonna say 2 whores.
You like heroin, kid? What you got to lose?
You can meet him, but he's kind of on one.
But he also, when he's there, he recognizes that Willie and Mort are both drifting away from him. And so Mort shows up and he tells Mort, he says, "Hey, you're going out to dinner with Willie. Can you kind of try to convince her?" And Mort and Willie
Convince her what?
To stay.
Oh.
And Mort and Willie go out to dinner, and when they're both at dinner, they go, "Yeah, we're both going to leave him."
Whoa.
And so Mort moves to Europe, and Willie, separates from him.
At least they didn't fucking abscond together.
Yeah, well, exactly.
It was all they all
He was probably expecting that.
Mort's a maniac. Willie seemed like a classy lady. I mean, not that you couldn't be with him. But anyway, so he gets out of the hospital, a couple months later.
Months later?
I think it's a month or 2 later. He's there for
he's
a lot of
fucking
weeks.
human origami. He's all folded up.
Human origami? Was that, he got that from the black belt run?
Yeah. He's all.
But he's there for about 6 weeks.
Jeez.
And he goes back to the forest. And when he gets back to the fucking forest, he doesn't
Hotel.
He doesn't. Yeah, the forest hotel.
I'm in the woods now.
He doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have a songwriting partner. And then he gets a letter that the 12-year-old girl died.
Oh.
So it's just like everything is just falling apart.
Sure.
Write a song.
In '66, Hill and Range doesn't renew his contract. But also in '66, he starts playing high-stakes poker with Johnny Jungletree and his friends.
Oh, that's the maniac.
Yeah.
You good? You lucky? You short, white boy.
And so he starts playing. Poker with them, and that's his main income is just these poker games.
What?
Hey.
And but the guy who runs the manager of the hotel is pissed because he's not like. Actually, that's later. Johnny Jungletree, he thinks Johnny Jungletree is a fucking drunk maniac. He's still friends with him, but twice when Doc and Johnny are out gambling, someone breaks into Doc's room and steals his stuff. And so he's like, okay, this must have been something has to do with Johnny. So he moves out of the forest, moves across the street, and he goes to Hollywood and he writes an instrumental for Dino De Laurentiis's movie.
Hey.
I should also mention that a couple years before Elvis was doing all these movies, him and Mort do write a song for Elvis that you've heard of called Viva Las Vegas.
Whoa. Huh.
You really never heard of that?
I'm kidding.
Okay. Jesus, I can't tell your kidding face. As you know, so he's playing this. He's playing poker. There's not a lot of money coming in. He's also,
Is he pissing away like his riches kind of thing?
No, he doesn't have that much money and to piss away.
Is he pissing the night away?
But he moves into this other hotel, and while he's there, there's this 18-year-old, 19-year-old beautiful blonde woman
That's actually 38.
that is on his floor, and
What?
she every time she would go through the lobby, she would see him talking to all these people, and she would be like, he's interesting. She would hear Doc, but she couldn't see anybody. And then one day she sees him, she was like, oh, he's interesting, and she starts talking to him. Her name is Shirley, and
Was it the cancer girl?
no, they hit it off.
Died.
And all of a sudden,
stories happen. Stories are
she's
weird.
new in town, and she's like, he's really sweet, and now he's fucking like 40 something, and he's got another beautiful blonde woman.
He's in his. Yeah, he's in his 40s now. Yeah.
But he's making all this money through his poker games, and she's like, he discovered that if he hosted the game, then the host gets part of the pot,
Right.
and so all of a sudden he's like, okay, well, I got to make sure I'm making money, because he's sending his kids to private school. He said his daughter said that she would, when she was around for these games, she would get a list of all the cigarettes to buy. So every day she would go out and buy cigarettes just for the game. And
Chesterfield's Lucky Strike.
I smoke red apples.
and so these people would come over and they'd hang out all night, and Shirley would like bring out food, and Doc. This was how Doc was making his money. But even at the same time, he's still writing music. And this young guy named Kenny Hirsch goes to like the Brill Building, and they send him to Doc, and him and Doc start hitting off and writing songs. And they write a song for Ray Charles, and
The Pepsi song. Diet Pepsi. Remember that? When Ray Charles sang for Diet Pepsi? Mm-hmm. That was what they wrote. I have it on good authority. People are saying.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying it.
Doc wrote the Diet Pepsi. Song. That's
cool.
And so Kenny actually goes to meet with Ray Charles. This is you guys need to know this story. So Kenny goes to meet with Ray Charles, and Ray Charles is like, "Oh, come into my studio." And Kenny's like, "It's really dark in here. Could you?" I said, "Ray, how about some lights?" And Ray goes, "Oh, that's right."
That's pretty funny.
It's actually my dungeon.
It's no lights.
See the whips and ball gags.
Sivian.
This is for David Sharp. There are a lot of like legit. There are a lot of insane people that would show up at these poker games. But there's also
saying this is for David Sharp.
Yes. But there's also a lot of really good gamblers. And there was like this 16-year-old kid that was always there. and his name was Stewie Unger.
Hey.
And so he
Stu
was,
Unger, a profile done by David Sharp, friend of the show.
Very, very, very good profile.
So we're jumping ahead to the 70s. He starts going out more, and he goes out to this club, and there's this singer there, and he. I think Johnny Junkeltree actually tells him to check her out. It's just this blonde. It's at the Improv in New York.
You gotta see it. I'm gonna rob your apartment tonight. She's really good.
And he sees her, and
This is at the comedy club.
well, it's an improv, but it's everything improv.
Yeah.
And there's this blonde woman who's just blowing, just fucking destroying everybody, and it's Bette Midler.
Hey.
And so he tells her, and she they become friends, and she records some of his songs. She records A Teenager in Love. Kenny Hirsch is playing keyboards for. Doc tells Atlantic to check her out. They do. She goes on Carson, and then she becomes
Bette Midler.
A quadruple threat.
because Carson is just Carson can't stop flirting with her.
I've
Yeah.
seen some crazy ass shit in my time.
But she was something special
Yeah.
when she hit the scene because she was a singer. She was funny.
Yeah, and also
she had this. She also has a very striking look.
and she does,
She was also in the Witches.
like dirty jokes, but then she does
Not
like
the Witches.
well, a fucking
Hocus
Wind
Pocus.
Beneath My Wings,
Yeah,
and
that's
like
the-
it's
Well, I mean,
It's cool.
not even there. She hasn't even put out an album when she starts going on Carson.
yeah.
But so she starts going on Carson, she blows up, and Doc is he's desperate for money, and he's like, hey, I've been working with you, and so could I? And maybe he was a little too strong, maybe something, but Shirley said that it seemed like Bette was like, oh Christ, here's another person asking me for money, and Bette cuts him off, and then a few months later, like 6 to 8 months later, she puts out her album. And all of the Doc songs that she had recorded don't make the album. She re-records the whole album. And never talks to him again. And so now he's making money only through the poker. Phil Spector finds out that he's broke and so he just mails him a blank check.
Whoa.
And Doc fills it out for $3,000, $4,000,
and a bullet with his name on it.
Tie yourself up. I'll be there in an hour.
He loves this shit. What do you want me to do?
I'm gonna get the best vocal performance out of you've ever done in your life.
So it's 73, New Year's Day. Doc's neighbor is murdered in his hotel. Big Maybelle dies. She dies now, not what I said before. Damon Runyon Jr., his friend from the other hotel, he jumps into the Potomac and dies.
Whoa.
And so everything seems to be going, it's not great.
That's what they said about Captain America and Bucky Barnes too, but they both made it out.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
Potomac, a little different.
And the neighbor
Back in the
did he watch it all from the window?
No, he just...
was Jungle Tree robbing everybody while they were all dying?
Well, Jungle Tree, I think around this, so around this time, Broadway Central, the place that he used to be in, the building collapses.
Nice.
Johnny Jungle Tree is found, he had fallen asleep in an abandoned building in the middle of winter while he was drunk and died.
Whoa.
Should have had all those. I should have ate some rat poison sandwiches and antifreeze
Yeah,
cocktails.
he's no Michael Mallory. But also, so this is 73, but then BMI, the music thing, Doc, he would go to the awards, and usually it's just a fucking jack-off session.
And BMI is the songwriting credit.
Yeah. So they have awards every year. And Doc usually goes. And then, 1973, he goes and he gets told that John Lennon specifically asked to share a table with him. And he's like, whatever. He goes there and he sees John, and John shakes his hand, and Yoko shakes his hand, and then John reaches for Shirley's hand, and Yoko smacks his hand away.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. and Doc's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And Doc goes to his
This
table.
is the bloke that wrote "I'm a fucking adolescent," isn't I? He's a legend.
Phil tied him up and put a gun to his head too. See, Yoko? You're lucky I don't do that to you.
Happens to the best of us, doesn't it?
I think Lennon. Well, so Doc goes to his table, and then after Lennon stops talking to all these people and just fucks over and comes to the table, and him and Doc he sits next to Doc and they talk for the rest of the night. Mm-hmm. And Lennon's telling him about working with Spector and he's going to do this Nielsen stuff. And he tells him that I think it was for Hey Jude that they were thinking about Magic Moment. Kind of that melody type. I think
that's very interesting.
If I'm remembering that correctly. But one of Doc's songs was one of the songs that they thought about when they were making the music to Hey Jude.
Wow.
And, so Lennon loved these songs.
Sure.
And Doc was just a huge guy to him. And him and Lennon would hang out after this. They would hang out every week and just talk about music. And Doc's daughter, Sharon, she would see Lennon all the time because they lived Lennon said, "Oh, I'm moving into this building just right down the street from you."
Nothing bad will ever happen.
Yeah. And Sharon,
in the alley.
Sharon
It's
sees
rent
him all
controlled.
No, you're the alley guy.
Sharon sees him all the time, and she's like too nervous to say anything. And then one time she sees him in the supermarket, and she's like, "Hey, John, I'm Doc Pomus's kid." And right there in the middle of the supermarket, Lennon sings "Save the Last Dance."
Are you fucking
in the
kidding
supermarket
me?
to her? Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Damn.
pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Can you hurry up? I'm trying to buy some Miracle Whip. I don't care what you wrote.
Yeah. Are the fucking cantaloupes fresh or not?
And you and your wife, wherever she's from, get the fuck on. We got places to.
So, all right, we're almost there. And 73, also this kind of whirlwind young mystic gets into Doc's life, and his name is Mac Rebenak, and he's this guy from New Orleans who
Trevor
white
Mann
guy, yeah, it's this white guy who loves black music and has he's invented this Cajun character about himself, and he always wears these crazy outfits, and
I guarantee
he goes by the name Dr. John.
Oh,
and he starts working with Mac, and it's like there's a amazing similarity between the two of them. These white guys who are singing this not white music. This
Ebonophiles. Am I wrong? Well, you got Francophiles,
sure.
right? You can have an. I would say Ebonophile is a reasonable word that I made up.
Yeah. All right.
They hit it off, and
What do you want to call them? Cultural appropriators?
Yes.
Colonizers?
They start writing songs together. It's just a perfect match because Mac is an insanely virtuistic.
He's to the max, Jack.
keyboard player. Yeah,
A virtuoso?
virtuoso.
He's
Yeah.
certainly better than Doc.
Oh yeah, the Doc doesn't play anything. But so they write together, and even Mac would go to the bathroom for an hour and do heroin, and
Oh yeah.
so there's still problems. But Doc's like fucking whatever. He's fucking stuck in
I'm
bed
happy
all
about
day.
the collaboration. Sorry,
At least he's not holding a gun to my head.
but honestly, I'd like the bathroom back.
You're in my huge stall.
Well, to be fair, Doc wasn't using. He had a
Colostomy bag?
He would stay in the bed a lot of the day, and he had portable fucking toilet he was using.
Nice.
And by now, Shirley is in and out of his life. She's fucking so young.
Oh, so she's the portable toilet.
Oh
no.
boy. Oh boy.
Is that what you're saying?
No.
She was Catholic or Christian or something.
Or something. I don't know. I'm from Williamsburg, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, God.
So
It's a reference to John's episode about the priest who had the slave boy, or was the slave boy.
Yeah,
rather.
the toilet. Yeah.
I don't want this to go too long, so I'm gonna skip over some stuff. But I do want to say
for the Patreon.
that at some point he does go out to L.A. and to meet up with Spector in the late '70s, mid to late '70s,
And he's in a Mexican standoff with the Ramones.
Well, Spector is just like
Just some guys named Ramon. You gotta come and help me, Doc. The Ramones are after me. The guys from fucking Jersey? No, a bunch of Ramones. I just remember I just came back from Tijuana. It's so fucked up.
But
And these guys took down Dean on the Belmonts.
there's no more Belmonts. It's a pretty good time with Spectre until they go back to his place. And
Yeah, I've heard that before.
and Spectre has one of those conversation rooms, where it's like it drops like it's like steps down into this.
Yeah.
And Spectre has his assistants. He insists that his assistants carry Doc and put him into it.
Of course.
And Spectre's just like handing out cocaine left and right.
My goodness.
And at one point, Shirley is like, "Hey, I gotta use." She goes off to use the bathroom, and she says I think she wants to smoke a cigarette, and so she opens the window of the bathroom, and alarms go off, and like gates come down, and dogs start barking because Spectre he's going insane.
Yeah.
He thinks everybody's out to get him, except for Doc, of course.
When really they're just trying to get out.
Yeah, but that even Spectre, like at some point in the night, Spectre he pulled out a gun and just started like waving it around.
Loves guns.
Yeah.
Loves it.
And so like Doc was like, I can talk to him. Don't worry, I can help. But Shirley's like, this is insane.
Yeah.
So that was his L.A. Phil Spector moment. So anyway, he comes back he gets back to New York, and he starts hanging at this place called Lone Star Cafe. Jerry Jeff sings about it. There was other places. After that would close, then he would go to Kenny's Castaway. So he just watch music, and all of these people like Belushi and Lou Reed and all of these musicians would be like, "Oh, that's Doc," and they would come up and they would talk and they would hang out. It was this new lobby kind of thing,
Sure.
And everybody wanted to be there, and then he started doing. He started having people over his apartment. There was always fried chicken. He would always order fried chicken. There's all of these like young, beautiful female songwriters that would just like show up, and everybody would just hang out until the morning.
A lot of hanging out.
You love it.
Sean Colvin, Penny Arcade, very very Joan Osborne.
Hey.
People that would become
Joan Osborne?
yeah, and.
What if God was one of us, Joan Osborne?
Yeah, and eventually
She's 6 years old at this time? What year is this?
is early 80s. Yeah,
So she was pretty young.
yeah, late 70s, early 80s. I don't know. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Maybe not. Wait, was it Joe Osborne? Oh, whatever.
Who cares? Sounds good.
Scratch it. I don't care. Anyway,
What if God was one of us?
Mick DeVille. So Mick DeVille was this fucking flashy ass motherfucker.
Yeah,
and
it's nice.
him and Doc hit it off, and Doc wrote some songs for it. It got him, and it got on Lachette Blue, which is Mick DeVille's one of his hot records. It's actually it's pretty fun. And Doc started having these like songwriting classes in his apartment. And like Lou Reed would show up, and like all of these young songwriters would learn from Lou Reed or Dr. John, and but a lot of the women had they had crushes on Doc because he was incredibly smart and kind. And even Sean Colvin, she says, I went to his place, and some lessons happened.
What?
And
he showed me what those curly fingers.
When I think it was her or Marshall. What was it? Marshall or something, I forget. But she, it's like, smart women are attracted to smart men, and Doc was brilliant. And like a lot of these women were like, this is a brilliant, talented man. And even though he's a giant ball of goo,
yeah, he's non-threatening.
Yeah.
He's not going to chase you down.
Yeah.
Sure. No.
What?
He's not.
It's true. He's not.
Yeah.
And he meets up with Big Joe Turner again, and he finds out that Joe Turner is fucking destitute. And he
And that's less than a prostitute.
He's not even charging anymore.
No.
he finds out that Joe Turner's fucking reps have been taking his money from him.
Huh.
And so he makes a few calls, and next thing you know, Joe Turner's making money again.
Right. Well, Muhammad Ali probably showed up and started straightening everybody out.
Jungle Tree too. Man, listen, Miss Jungle Tree, these big tall white guys are stealing from my friend Joe. I'm there.
And he's going to see. He sees Joe Turner, and Joe Turner is like playing 3 shows a night. And he's like, Joe, why are you playing 3 shows a night? And Joe's like, well, because I'm broke. I need the money. And Joe's manager is making him do this. And so one night, Doc he leaves the club and he has his driver call in a bomb threat just so Joe can get the night off.
Wow.
And he, in the so 77, Elvis dies. Shirley leaves, but Elvis dies and he gets all this royalty money.
Shirley's over it. She's out of the picture.
Yeah, but when Elvis dies, also that's the end of an era.
Yeah.
There's no going back to whatever. You can never get back to whatever that was. But in 80, Doc and Mac, they send a song, a tape of songs to B.B. King. Mm-hmm. And King is in the studio reading the lyric sheet for it, and for one of these songs, and he starts to cry. Mm. And this is a song that BB would record in, I think, 80. He would record in 81.
So Benny King, BB King, and the King,
yeah,
all performing Doc's song.
Yeah.
And he got royalties from that. You're telling me?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
What about BB Netanyahu? Gotta bite your lip. You gotta bite that bottom lip. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So this is the Doc and Mac song that BB King recorded. Good bass line.
Sometimes I wonder just what am I fighting for? I win some battles, but I always lose the war. I keep right on stumbling, and there's no man's land out here. But I know, yes I know, there must be a better world somewhere.
So BB King always talking about, he's like, he wished there was some place that people would just treat him like a normal person. No, no black, no,
That's why he made the House of Blues.
Yeah. And so, when he read that song, he started crying, and he immediately, and so that song won a Grammy in 81.
Huh.
Wow.
The race category?
84, Dolly Parton has a top 5 country hit with Save the Last Dance.
Wow.
Oh, God, Dolly's the best.
Yeah, Dolly's amazing. 86, he gets a call out of nowhere saying, "Hey, Bob Dylan wants to come over." And Bob Dylan comes over, and Bob Dylan goes, I can't write anything right now. I got nothing.
All right, I'm gonna hold a gun to your head. Stay still.
Could you help me out? And him and Dylan spend an afternoon, and Dylan says, "Hey, here's the tape of some songs. Help me figure out some stuff." And I think that was his only meeting with Dylan. But Dylan definitely had a reverence for him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Around that time, Doc writes a letter to Billboard saying, "Guys, when Jimmy Scott dies, everybody's going to go, oh, wasn't he a great performer and artist? We miss him. Someone needs to do something about Jimmy Scott before he dies."
Yeah.
And nothing really happens with
Jimmy Scott is the 36-year-old prepubescent?
Yeah.
Yeah, the baby man.
Yeah.
And I was older. He's writing for Willie DeVille, Mink DeVille. And in 1990, Doc and his brother Raul Felder, by then 1990 was a world famous divorce attorney. was the divorce attorney
Really?
in America.
Wow.
And
are you being devoured by a succubus? Would you like to launch your ultimate revenge against the woman who broke your heart?
Are you in a Mexican standoff with the Ramones? Or the Rauls? Or the Jungle Trees?
Or the Belmont Gang?
Have your hubcaps been stolen?
And pressed into gold platinum records?
That's really stupid.
Are pieces of your automobile part of a musical legacy?
Have you been denied royalties by The King or BB King
Or Benny King?
Or even mega rock group Queen. Or perhaps even Minnesota legend Prince.
Perhaps you're waiting for your royalties from Kiss and Make Up. Or perhaps you've seen Kiss without makeup. You may be entitled to compensation.
Kiss.
I'm Raoul Felder. You should get what's coming to you.
So
You got another thing coming.
Have you been trapped in a jigsaw maze of a fire escape?
Have you been touched by a Judas priest who's Catholic or Christian or something? Are you trapped in an Iron Maiden? I'm sorry.
no, that's why we're here. So 1990, Doc and Raoul, they have a dual birthday.
Yeah.
They have
With guns? Draw. A dual birthday.
a joint birthday, I guess I could
Oh,
say.
they're chasing it up.
Yeah. So they rent out Katz's in the East Village.
Oh, the deli?
Very nice.
Yeah. It has this giant, party area. Probably a ball pit or something. And there's just a line around the block. And one of the I forget who it is from the documentary. They say that you could tell who was there for who. All of the poor artists were there for Doc, and all of the women with fake tits were there for Raoul.
Whoa.
And it's fucking, all of these fucking famous people like fucking, Lou Reed and all of these famous artists are there too. And but afterwards, Doc is like, hey, fucking, I couldn't breathe. I've never had this trouble before, but I couldn't breathe in there. Mm. And Doc had he had quit cigarettes about 20 years before that, but up until then, he smoked 4 packs a day of Chesterfield with no filter.
Oh my
Damn.
God. Plus, he was gigantic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had fucking huge ass lungs. He was probably dragging the whole fucking thing in one go.
Oh, yeah.
And then he ate the butts.
So,
Whether you're B.B. King or a little street sweeper,
Sooner or later, pal.
you dance with the Reaper.
so Doc, he calls up Shirley one day. And he says, I just had this insane dream. I had this dream where it was you and I. We were watching fireworks. These big fireworks, just a whole fireworks display, and then we went to a theater, and I wasn't there, but I was there. But everybody we know was there.
Except they weren't them. We weren't there.
No, but
I was here.
It was a...
and everybody was getting up on stage and talking about me, and they were saying nice things. And he said he got really embarrassed listening. And then he said later some people performed, and then everybody walked down the aisle and left. And,
Whoa.
And then we took a ride somewhere. And then about a month later or so, he has this cough he can't get rid of. Goes to the hospital. At first, they don't do all of the tests. They think he's okay because they don't do the one where they shove the camera down your lungs. Mm. And then
dildo cam.
Yeah. What? And then he's getting worse. And they goes in. They say he gets the test and he's got 2 months to live. He's got cancer. He's got lung cancer.
He's got the disease called 2 months to live.
Yeah.
You've got 2 months to live. What's that? Is it bad?
Is it the blues?
It's kind of red, green. Yeah, it's not good.
Sputum.
And, so he got 2 months to live, and he's in the hospital now. He gets all these letters from all over the world of people who, wish him well and everything. And,
Terrence Trent D'Arby.
Yeah.
Wishing well.
Yeah. And all of his friends show up and his family shows up, and Lou Reed offers to install a color TV in the room to get rid of the black and white TV.
Lou Reed offers him a ton of heroin.
Yeah, and Doc's like, Lou, this is no time for long-term plans. And then one night he's in the hospital and he's with Shirley, and they look out the window and there's a fireworks display going out the window.
Boy.
Whoa.
And then not long after that, it's this doctor they call Dr. Shroud, because he always had bad news. And he shows up, and he's like, he's getting there. And so the family is gathered around him, and like 3 a.m, he wakes up, and he just says, "Thank you," and then he dies.
Oh shit.
Whoa.
And they have for his funeral, they have a concert for him. Basically, they have they're at a church, and they Dr. John plays a song he wrote just for the occasion, and fucking you could just tell he's just dying inside. And he had kicked heroin for Doc.
Wow.
And he talks about that. He announces it at the funeral that he kicked heroin for Doc.
Wow.
Though in the book it says he called Doc and said he kicked it, but maybe he said that when he was in the hospital. But
You could have also said it at the funeral.
yeah,
Maybe a text. I don't know.
and everybody's making these speeches, and then little Jimmy Scott gets up and sings.
My balls drop.
But everybody's like, "Oh, fucking Jimmy Scott!" And Jimmy Scott gets up and sings, and it's just, it's insane. It's just amazing. And there's a record producer, a record label guy there, and he signs Jimmy.
No shit.
He signs Jimmy Scott that day. And so Doc's funeral,
Wow.
got Jimmy Scott.
His record.
This kid's gonna be big.
No, he's not.
I'm 55.
And I'm Veronica Lake. Jungle Trees just robbed everybody's car.
Yeah, I think fucking Spectre settled a gang dispute that night.
I think it was March 14th. I think it's 90.
I'll execute every last motherfucker.
This is eulogy.
And
The fucking Eurythmics are in the parking lot giving the eulogy. The Ramones are having a Mexican standoff. Phil Spector's a fucking ghost. Jungle Trees stealing the hubcaps, going back to the Forest Hotel. Jesus fucking Christ!
and now Doc's songs are as they're not number one songs, but the royalty
They're
checks
A+.
they're as big as they've been over the last 30, 40, 50 years almost.
Yeah,
classics.
those are, all time.
Yeah.
Massive, massive fucking hits.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see what this magic moment has a very memorable scene in a movie that I really want to remember.
I think it's used in movies all the goddamn time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's a magic moment.
Yeah.
That's what movies are about.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take us out on a song
The Sandlot.
with Doc. Oh, The Sandlot. That's right.
When he kisses Wendy Peppercorn.
Yeah, makes sense. But
imagine.
That's pretty much.
I guess I'll take us out in a Doc song.
Hell yeah, I'd love for that.
I mean,
to
unless
happen.
I don't have to cut us off.
No, please. Let's take us out.
Maybe a Doc
Unless
song or
anything
two.
that you guys are thinking about.
I am going to say good night. My name is John Fahey.
My name is Aaron Pita.
Mepperso.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
This is Blues in the Red.
I said I'm all alone and hungry, and I'm broke as I can be. I said I'm all alone and hungry, and I'm broke as I can be.
So sad.
Basically.
I've got the blues in the red since my baby walked out on me.
Needle bouncing.
Walked out.
Now my checks all bounce like rubber. I've been so short of cash. I said my checks all bounce like rubber.
Yeah. The band's like, how are we getting paid?
So short of cash.
It's crazy what a turnaround rap was for compared to blues. I got all the money. I got all the bitches.
And my meals are strictly had.
This is a kind of well known song by Doc. Actually, but this is Doc's Boogie. This was a little bit happier. Let me try this. Let's remember on a better note.
Oh, is this when he got roller skates?
Somebody got a wheelchair. It's about rolling J's?
We'll jump. We'll jump
must
till
be.
the break of day.
You ain't jumping, bro.
Well, no.
We'll jump till the break of day. I will drive.
I'll break
we'll
a leg.
drive our blues away.
Will you play Little Sister
So
too?
let's get groovy and make
Oh,
your
sure,
chick
sure.
boogie too.
The Elvis one?
Whatever's a good one.
So
Let's do it on the
get groovy and
Patreon.
make your chick
Sure.
boogie too.
Because Ry Cooter's version of it is fucking amazing.
Yeah. I hear Pearl Jam did one too.
Wait, really?
Really?
We'll jump till dawn, knock ourselves out. When it gets good to us, scream and shout. Well, roll a boogie. Yeah, roll a boogie. Roll a boogie, roll it good and strong. Well, shake your hips, wrinkle your nose. Feel the boogie down to your toes. Roll a boogie. Yeah, roll a boogie. Roll a boogie, roll it good and strong.
Scarpins Avenue.